Welcome to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions. Your host tonight is the author of the Pro-Black Compendium and Zuberi and the Maroons of Ma'at, the Pan-African Nationalist, Oni. Oni, what are we discussing tonight?
Peace, family. We are, of course, discussing The Enemies Within. This is February 27th. Today, I'm actually joined with a special guest, although he's going to be quiet, and that's the little boy. My son, obviously. For those of you like, what? Little boy. But yeah, we're gonna jump right into it, honestly. This is going to be a good week, but before we get started, I'd like to remind you that I'm part of a podcasting network.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
All right, family. So we're going to jump into it. I actually have a few more than I should. But what we're going to do is, some of them is just like, I'm just going to show y'all. And, I don't even got to say anything to it, right? But let me see what the chat says. Kofi says greetings. So greetings to Kofi. Kofi gave me one of them for this week. So we're going to, I'm going to jump into that one as well. And I'm going to agree with him. I think it's a BAN. But let's start it right here. First off, dependents had become part of their second nature. This is actually a mulatto lady. Her name is Elizabeth Keckley. This was right after the Civil War in America. Right after, during the time of, what do you call it? Whatever, I forgot the name of the period after the Civil War. She went, dependents had become part of their second nature, and independence brought with it the cares and vexations of poverty. Now, she's talking about the black experience following emancipation, right? And what she noticed was that a lot of people, this is the thing with us as a people, when you do not create an economy, right? If you do not create an economy, you will suffer. Now, speaking of which, I got my son over here. I'm thinking about, for my next book, I'm going to write a series of essays, and I'm thinking I'm just going to direct them to not young people per se, but maybe just my son. Just going to direct it to my son. Make sure he reads the book when I get older. But one of the chapters I'm thinking about is along the lines of, poverty is your natural state. I know it sounds like you don't, like something that you don't want to hear, but poverty is your natural state. And the thing that's going to change you from being impoverished when you're born is your ancestors. Is your parents and their parents and their parents and their parents. Basically, your ancestors are going to give you the resources. Like, for instance, my boy right now, he's sitting down. He got food on the table. He ain't even finished. Right now, it wasn't a lot of food, but, he woke up saying he wants some food. I got him some food, put it on the table. It's not the best food, but it's food. Right? There are kids who don't got food. He's well dressed. He got, he has a couple of electronics and all that kind of stuff. Basically, he's set. But the reason why he's set is not because of anything that he does. You understand? It's not that anything that he does. He doesn't earn anything. The reason why he's set is because he has an ancestor in me, and I have an ancestor in my parents. Okay? So when we look back at this, it says dependents have become part of their second nature. Children are dependent, obviously, and independence, if children were independent, they have to care about they have to go about with the cares and vexations of poverty. Like, I had to speculate on what would happen, ancestors forbid, let's say, right? Nuclear war. Some people pronounce it, other ways, whatever. Nuclear war, and he's the sole survivor. How is he going to manage? Well, he's a young buck. How's he going to manage? It doesn't even make any damn sense. I mean, I would have difficulty managing, let alone him. But I want you to understand that if you do not develop an economy, if you do not develop a community, right, chances are you're going to be impoverished. And so now we fast forward to the subject matter at hand. This is the biggest military alliance on the planet. The biggest military alliance on the planet, and this is what they have to say. Oh, sorry. Did I say on the planet? On the continent. The biggest military alliance on the continent. And this is what they're saying. Maintain your presence in the Sahel. Africa needs EU forces. This is Macky Sall. And you're like, who's Macky Sall? And this is Macky Sall to Germany. Macky Sall. Who's Macky Sall? Who the freak is Macky Sall? Senegalese president. The president of Senegal. And the current chair of the African Union. This is the BAN. And I forgot I was supposed to add a section for you to understand who the BAN are, right? I was supposed to add a section for you to know what a BAN is, but basically it's just well, I guess my son's here, so well, basically it's a B and an A and an N. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all the words you shouldn't use, but yeah, this is a BAN right here. So the president of the chair of the African Union, which is going to be the biggest military alliance in Africa, right, is going to say, please, Germany, stay over here. Don't go and protect your borders. Don't go in and save yourself. What are we going to do without you? Urged to maintain the Sahel region, especially Mali, against the growing campaign by Mali to oust foreign troops from the country, right? And look at this. Has urged Germany to maintain its presence, especially Mali, against the growing campaign. So, wait, I think I misread this. See, I didn't even read this before because I was like, this is just a BAN. But it looks like what he said is that he wants German troops, right? He wants European troops. This is the BAN. I mean, I wasn't sure who's going to be the BAN of the week, but this is like it's it. This is like the BAN of the week, right? I'm gonna tell my son, look, do not be like this gentleman. Okay, do not be like this gentleman. And see, my understanding is that this might have been this Macky Sall might have been the individual who, when they were asked which of you presidents would like to be a governor, you know, he might have been the one. So now I'm kind of, because I remember in Senegal, I don't know if it was him, you know, his predecessor or what have you, but now I'm saying to myself, this is trouble. This is troubling. Because if this is the Pan-Africanist, this is troubling. But basically, if we're reading this right, he's saying he wants Germany in Mali to keep France in Mali. Mali cannot be abandoned. You must maintain your presence in the Sahel. Africa needs it. We need European forces, Sall said to the German president, returned, claimed new impetus to the long-term close partnership between this is your leadership. This is the African Union. You know? I mean, I know a lot of us want to be a part of the African Union. Okay? I know a lot of us want to be a part of the African Union. This is the African Union. This is the current chair of the African Union. This is a seat that you're unlikely to occupy in your lifetime. This is the leader of that organization. Yeah, so insurgencies in the Sahel, for which the EU deployments are being made, began in 2012, right after the elimination of Martin. Look at it, like you guys, 8 years ago, complaining. It says it has taken measures to be in control of the country's future through self-reliance. Following this decision, the country has employed tough measures in dealing with the engagement of foreign forces, especially France, which they recently asked to withdraw without delay. Now, I want y'all to, I mean, for those of you who are like, hey, Oni, I want to watch this. I want to read this on my own time. Like I said, you have the link in the description. But even if not, there's a link in the chat. So, Tikum Nijwa, Tikum Jiwa says RBG. So you already know, red, black, and green. And Mr. Untouchable's here. Shout out to Mr. Untouchable. Great description of Cuba yesterday. But is the Pan-African Union better? And that's the thing. There's no Pan-African Union. The Pan-African Union is the African Union. That's the sad part. You understand? So I mean, maybe Mr. Untouchable means that to say, where's your union? And that's a good question. Where are we assuming the leadership of Africa? That's a good question. But yeah, there's no Pan-African Union, and that's on us. You know, that's on us. But I mean, a large degree, you got to go back to economics on these kind of questions. But we're gonna move forward. This is just a BAN. I had to add this. I'm gonna call it Stone Agers. You know, I have no idea who this person is, but I advise you guys to just go and block this person. Okay, just go ahead and do yourself a favor and block this person. This is a disgrace to our race. Okay. Now, I want you to understand this is a general rule of warfare. It says it is difficult to overcome those who know how to recognize their forces and their enemies, and easy to overcome those who don't. Okay? If you don't know who's on your side, right? If you don't know who's on your side, then it's easy to defeat you. This is why propaganda exists. Basically, if you know my definition of propaganda, it's basically a twist on this general rule of warfare. Okay? If you understand, I'm gonna turn around to my boy because he's not paying attention. Hey, come here, sit down. Right? So, if you are at war with somebody, I don't know if you guys can hear me when I turn around, but if you're at war with somebody, right, and you do not know who your enemy is, okay, then you will be overcome easily. You follow me? All right. Anyway, he's not even paying attention. But look at this lady right here. This is sad. This is depressing. Or it would be sad and depressing if I got emotional anymore about y'all. You understand? Nigeria is not a superpower, she says. I think this is a Nigerian woman. Nigeria is not a superpower, but she killed more Nigerians than anyone can remember. How many died since 2015 alone? The Nigerian police and the army killed Nigerians unprovoked. And you're like, you know what, this doesn't sound too bad, I guess. I don't know. Now she goes, now imagine Nigeria with nuclear weapons capability. You really don't know who your enemies are, do you? And of course, you know, you got your standard fare BANs following suit. Nefertiti, you are on a roll today. That wish cannot fall under any form of category or imagination. Nigeria can never, I repeat, Nigeria can never, as until the end of the world ends, she can never, ever, ever, never produce nuclear weapons. Nigeria's not a superpower, but she killed more Nigerians than anyone can remember. A bullet that not even the naysayers can dodge. Can you imagine this? So everybody and their mama. Now look. If you're a anti-arms person in general, if you're, everybody should disarm in general, then I understand the sentiment. Yeah, Nigeria shouldn't develop a bomb if nobody should have a bomb. But if you're talking about fighting among wolves and saying, hey, you know what, humans are you talk about a bunch of wolves and their canines, and then you say, imagine if humans had guns, right? Then of course you're gonna have a problem. So and then so you might say, I'll follow up. And yeah, I know y'all saying this kid is a little louder. I don't know if y'all saying that actually. I'm gonna have to. But look at this right here. So look at this. I'm perfectly okay with and so I'm like, I don't know who this person is. So let me just look into their description. Let me look into them more. Because I just don't know like what's the story here. Cause I want y'all to understand too. Y'all might be like, well, you just picking on some random person. This is 82,000 followers. You understand? I got 2,000. This is 82,000 followers. Okay, I don't know why. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. But it's like I never saw this person personally. I think our name sounds remotely familiar, but what I'm saying is that this is up there with I think maybe Tariq Nasheed maybe it's 200,000. I'm not too sure. Maybe even less. I don't know. But here, look, I am perfectly okay with America as world's police. I choose sacrosanct libertas over communism or whatever Karl Marx proposed. USA is no saint, but with her on the saddle, my chances of survival is high. I hate to think you want China, Russia, and South Korea as a new world order. Oh, and then she goes North Korea as a correction, right? But this is the thing. I am perfect. Like the first sentence is the tell-all. I am perfectly okay with America as world's police. There was this Chinese diplomat who saw this article published in America where it says, where apparently America says, "Hey, we don't want China in Africa because we consider Africa our backyard," and the Chinese diplomat said, "Hey, I'm pretty sure Africa has sovereign states and it's not anybody's backyard, right?" But this individual is trying to tell you, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm okay with Africa being the backyard." This is another BAN. And I mean, last but not least, and I'm trying to go rapidly. Let me see if there's any comments. No comments. All right. I'm trying to go rapidly. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Y'all hear me, right? Oh, yeah. Of course y'all hear me. All right. All right. So the last one, the last BAN is going to be, Kofi recommended this one, right? But it's a BAN authority. It's the BAN authority. All right? So I want you to understand this. This is something that Amos Wilson said. And, I'm not really the biggest Amos Wilson fan, but, sometimes like you just have quotes, right? So he says, if you cannot dictate the terms of peace, you have not won the war. And now I want to just add a corollary to this, right? You cannot dictate the terms of peace until you have won the war. And I want you to I want you to understand that. It's like this. Right now there's a war brewing between Ukraine and Russia, right? Yeah, that's how it was roll. All right. But anyway, between these two countries, okay? At the end of the war, the disputed territory is going to be one of the twos. But it's going to be at the end of the war. They're going to say, okay, we're going to call off this war, but these are the terms of peace, or we're going to keep going. That's how it works. You understand? It's at the end of the war. Now, what you have with Black Americans, okay, Black Americans in particular, but Africans in general, but Black Americans in particular. What you have with Black Americans in particular is that they will always try to dictate the terms of peace while losing the damn war. Or even after the war's already been lost. Like imagine imagine Russia crushes Ukraine, okay? Crushes Ukraine like a little can, right? And then after that, Ukraine says, okay, well, you give us all our land back and you give us money and you go back home. But that's just like, well, wait a second, we crushed you. And that's how America's looking at Black Americans. Okay? And I'm bringing out Black Americans because we're going to talk about the BAN authority. But I'm bringing out Black Americans because that's how it looks at you. Or those of you who are Black Americans, it looks at you like, wait, we won. Who the fuck are you demanding? It's like imagine, let's give an example. You walking through the hood. Okay, you walk through the hood, and some people enough to know good, right? They come across to you, and they catch you slipping, right? Catch you slipping basically means, right? They got guns pointed at you, and you ain't got no gun pointed at them. And of course, they're gonna tell you the famous run your pockets, okay? They're gonna tell you to run your pockets, all right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, okay, hold on. Before I give you anything, I want all of you to give me your money. Give me your money for wasting my damn time. Right? You wouldn't be in this situation unless you guys were robbing me. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have guns unless you were robbing me and all that kind of stuff. So now you give me what you owe me. Why if they don't slap you over the head? You know what I'm saying? You acting stupid. You have to understand, again, you cannot, I'm going to change the quote because I think it'll be better this way. You cannot dictate the terms of peace until you have won the war. You can't tell the gangbangers, all right, look here, you guys give me your money. And then y'all leave. And we go our separate ways. Now, you could do that if you got your boys coming over. Or you could do that if your clique already showed up. Or you pronounce it clique, whatever, right? You could do that. But if you sitting there outnumbered, outgunned, right? And then you gonna start telling them what the terms of peace are, right? You done lost your damn mind. And I mean, here is the classic example of you done lost your damn mind. So we're gonna go. Hope that was a good exposition for y'all. Let me check the chat. Kofi says, yeah, we can hear. EL says 100, right? EL, salute family. Lacking. You already know. You lacking, and then you gonna talk about, oh, well, this is how we going. This is how it's gonna win. I'm gonna set the terms. They ain't set no damn terms. So listen again. Black Americans sound. I'm just telling you. This is the you know. I was trying to advertise. You know, we got 9 folk here, so there's some advertising working, right? Anyway, so I say Black Americans sound like Black Ukrainians in Poland. But they think they are in different circumstances because America used them longer. And they didn't voluntarily show up. Okay? And the thing is this, if you ain't voluntarily show up, don't nobody care about you. But so more immature, so they're more immature than Black Ukrainians. Right? And of course, you know, I was going to put PS, caveat, listen, no such thing as a damn Black Ukrainian. Just like there's no such thing as a damn Black American. You just Black. And then nobody care about no Black folk if y'all ain't got no power. But here, check this out. This is the demands of a Black man, allegedly. Let me see if I could make this one bigger. Yeah. All right, good. So it's not that big, but we're gonna try to read some of this. And just be that. It says replication across the board. This is the Black Authority, by the way. Or at least I have it on authority that this is the Black Authority. So this is the reason why I'm going to read this, because he's a bigger name than I am. Okay, he's a bigger name than I am. And you know, he's gathering donations. If you look at my Cash App, which is in the description, if you look at my Cash App, you're gonna say, well, this brother's not getting nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at least compared to the Black Authority. So, but look at that, reparations across the board. He says, look, the wealth of America was and is based off the economic exploitation of the descendants of American slaves. Black people are in the streets. Like again, nobody gives a shit. But see, I want y'all to understand this though. This appeals to the Nevolutionaries. This appeals to the BANs. This appeals to a vast majority of Black folk. A vast majority of Black folk, and that's what makes this dangerous. Part of me is thinking I shouldn't even read this because some people are gonna be sitting down saying, you know what, I actually like that. You should not like anything about this. This is some old Nevolutionary BAN stuff, you know. And I'm just showing it to my son, so my son say, look here, I ain't gonna be like that, Baba. That's it, right? The wealth of America was and is based on the economic exploitation of descendants of American slaves. Black people are in the streets because police violence, white supremacist terrorism, and institutional racism are all in place as a means to ensure prosperity for white people and subjugation for Black people. That's why they gonna keep it up. They hate us because we are Black, but they are able to victimize us because we are poor. That poverty is systemic and engineered, not accidental. And the thing is this, of course it's systemic and engineered. That's the point. You know what I'm saying? Like you build up systems and you engineer things to accomplish stuff that you want done. It's like looking at a car and saying, you know, the car is could travel at 60 miles per hour. That's systemic and engineered, not accidental. You know, yeah, that's the whole damn point of the car. You know? You know what I'm saying? The solution must be systemic and engineered. Now, he's talking about the solution. He says systemic and engineered by white people. The solution must be systemic and engineered by white people, not accidental. So he's saying that he wants white people to solve his problems. This is a black man, a black authority, a black or chief, if you will. No different from the other BAN earlier, right? Or the two BAN before. But anyway, not accidental. Without addressing these issues, the society itself will fall into a total chaos as the bait and switch tactics of deflect and distract now no longer deceive the black population. Yo, okay, y'all not deceived, but y'all all on board for this Ukraine. Y'all signing up to go to Ukraine, man. Shut up. We require reparations across the board, and you ain't getting it. Shut the fuck up. To correct these evils. My bad, son. Come here. Give me. While only the descendants of American slaves are eligible for reparations, whatever, right? And again, remember this. Y'all got to go look up the word reparations. Reparations are given to the winner. So look, Russia crushes Ukraine, right? Russia's then going to ask for reparations for all the damages Ukraine did. That's how reparations works. It goes to the winner. And you can look it up. We require reparations across the board to correct these evils. While only the descendants of American slaves are eligible for reparations, steps to dismantle systemic white supremacy and stop white supremacist violence is a right of all melanated people of Aboriginal African descent. Yeah, shut up. Reparations are not just financial. We require educational reparations. We require you to educate us better. We require educational reparations to correct the crimes America's schools commit against black children. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine you go send your child to the public school system, and then you accuse the public school system of a criminal act when your dumbass gave your child to the public school system. You know, just take your L. And I mean, look, I understand everybody could not afford the public school system, and that's okay. But just take your L. You understand? You know, you can, and the thing is this: a lot of people can claim to have less resources, but it's a lot of cap. It's a lot of cap because, I tell you, man, when I was in the public school system, I'll tell you the truth. When I was in the public school system, there were kids ragging on my outfit. Why? And it made me like, one thing I could say, maybe I was poor, okay? But it made me feel like I was poor. Made me feel like I was poorer than other kids. And the thing is this: I might have just well been poorer than the other kids. You understand? And the thing is that, you know, there's such a thing as educational co-ops. There's such a thing as Saturday schools. Because, see, you could afford a church. All of y'all could afford churches. I told y'all the math already. You put 10%, so on and so forth. All of you could afford a church, which is a whole house with a Sunday school system. Or a Sunday fool system, I should tell you. Right? Where you push the David and Goliath story and little Sunday school songs. Sunday fool songs. Right? You could all afford that. And even if you can't personally afford it, if you can't personally afford church, guess what? Your community can, because it's there. You got multiple. So you ain't really got no damn excuse. You ain't got no excuse. And the only thing you could say is, hey, well, you know, the church, the difference between church and the school is that the church isn't taxed. And the school is. Well, then just make a damn church. Dummy, you already do that well. Let's make a damn church. Say, oh yeah, I'm following this religion. But you don't do that. So I'm not going like, if this was a petition, I wouldn't sign it at all. Talk about, oh, they doing crimes. They doing crimes to our children. When the crime to your children is you sending them to that that Sunday fool system. I bet if I wasn't, I shouldn't bet this, but I know a lot of people missing out on this program because they had the Sunday fool system. They're sitting in church right now. Comments. Panache Zawa says, greetings from Zimbabwe. I might have said that wrong, I know. But KW97 says, Jason Black, much like Mink Slide, is a militant integrationist. He doesn't believe in black nationalism, i.e. separation from Urugu. Urugu is his reference point. You already know. Kofi says true. Let's try to finish this before, before this kid gets too antsy, right? He chatting to himself. All right. Reparations are just financial. we must. All right. So let's see. We require judicial. Hold on a second. All right. We require judicial reparations for past crimes, such as the killers of Emmett Till and Trayvon Martin still walking free. That's a past crime. The reason why they walking free is because you ain't doing shit. That's all. As well as the ongoing crimes for the white supremacist court system to continue de facto chattel slavery. We require public political reparations to address how a majority black area can be ruled over by confirmed white supremacist politicians. It's because you keep voting them in. What you talking about, right? Like what? Oh, because you're a minority. Like you're not a majority. Like what are you talking about? All right. The agenda must address black people and only black people, right? Any discussion of addressing the black people's needs must focus solely on black people. While that seems obvious, the Parliament's government and media have embarked on a campaign to detour all efforts to focus on black people by diverting attention away from black people and putting it on trick words like people of color, minorities, which they have twisted so much that minorities also includes white people, women, gays, white identifying Latinos as their strategy to deny black people resources. Now again, the strategy to deny black people whose resources? Right? And not just that, it's like this. You know, this is going to be catchy for a lot of black folk. A lot of black folk are going to say, yeah, I agree with that. Right? One thing I gotta warn you is this: the more you give this dude, the more you're going to lose in the long run. You have to know, like I said in the warfare, in the earlier one on war, it is difficult to overcome those who recognize their forces and their enemies, and easy to overcome those who don't. So the thing is this is not your friend. This is not a part of your forces. And if you can't recognize that, you are going to be easily overcome. I'm just letting you know that. Because some of you are going to be like, well, what's the problem? The problem is this, motherfucker. That's it, period. Now, there's already problems in here, but you don't got to go that deep. I'm telling you, when you begin to, like, I'll tell you this. Ukraine and Russia, going at it right now. We're going to talk about it today. You got to know who the Ukrainian soldiers are if you're Russia. And if you're Russia, you got to know who the Ukrainian soldiers And if you're Ukraine, you got to know who the Russian soldiers are. Like I said, there was actually a story of some Russian soldiers dressing up like Ukrainians and just taking the vehicles. If you can't recognize your enemy, you will be overcome, period. Question 2. Black society's top priority is economic empowerment. Virtually all of Black America's ills can be traced directly back to the lack of economic resources. From education to healthcare to housing, lack of money is the prime factor behind those issues. America has waged a never-ending war to prevent black people from having economic resources from the exploitative benefits of the rest of the society. Look at this. There needs to be a Marshall Plan for the descendants of American slaves, patterned after the Marshall Plan that was initiated in Japan after World War II. And then, remember this. I don't know if y'all know this, but Japan is like the most American-centered I don't know what you call Asians, but BAA on the planet. Okay? But yeah, he wants that for you. Public and private entities must all be incentivized and required to participate, as practically all of America's public and private entities have benefited from keeping black people economically suppressed. Now, again, he's making these demands. Look, public and private entities must all be incentivized and required to big up and promote black Americans because we said so. Beat your chest. Anyway, I didn't even want to read any more of this, to be honest, but let me just I don't know. Let's see. 3, make dismantling of white supremacy public policy. Imagine white folk. So white supremacy just means white people in charge. You're asking white people in charge to dismantle them being in charge. That's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's like I said. Let's go back to the Ukrainian, because that's an easy example, and I know all y'all obsessed with it anyway, right? What Ukraine has is what's called Ukrainian supremacy, and what Russia has is Russian supremacy. Now, you go to the disputed territory. The disputed territory has a Ukrainian and a Russian faction, and one of them, Russia, is fighting against Ukrainian supremacy there, and Ukraine is fighting against Russian supremacy there, and basically what you're doing is the equivalent of a Russian demanding that the Ukrainians give up Ukrainian supremacy. It's stupid. Sorry, if they were demanding it without any war. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And it's not to say that you can't demand without any war, but come on. You know what's going to put up Russian supremacy? War. All right, the tradition of America is to practice white supremacy while pretending that white supremacy doesn't exist. Shut up. Just shut up. They pretend that they simply don't understand why the wealth gap, income gap, incarceration gap, and healthcare greatly favor white people and consistently penalize black people. America spends 5 decades pursuing a racially fabricated policy of a war on drugs, trying to make the public policy of a war on white supremacy in all its forms. And look at this. This is the weirdest part, right? This is actually a weird thing right here. I'll probably end on this one, honestly. But it's all kind of crap. From black school children, this and that kind of stuff. Unless y'all want me to continue reading, so just drop a comment. Drop a comment if you do. But this guy says, first off, they create all these gaps, right? They did it themselves, right? You're gonna make it a public policy war on white supremacy. That's some old BAN stuff. But right here, let's just read this one. It says, in recent years, if you are a pimp helping women to become prostitutes. Look at this. This is the weirdest thing. You're a pimp helping women to become you are now classified as a human trafficker. Okay? Which is like, okay, what's the problem? And he's like, Malcolm X said white supremacist violence should be prosecuted as an international war crime. The fact that pimping has now been elevated to that level, but the original sin of white supremacy has not, is a crime against human decency. I mean, you can't even make this up. So I want you guys to go check out this, read it on your own. Well, let me see if the comments, if anybody actually wants me to continue reading it. But yeah, it's a joke. It looks like nobody does. And they had to be paid to be at church. Had to be paid to be at church. Yeah, black folk. Well, black folk paying to be at church. Black folk paying to go. Because the thing is, the tithing system. See, the pastor's getting paid, right? But the tithing system is such that black folk, even the poor black folk, are putting 10% of their paycheck. Every paycheck they get, they put 10% of that into the church. And the church don't do a damn thing. And then they end up making all these heavy demands of these white folk to educate their children. They did all these heavy demands for these white folk to balance the economy in their favor. They make all these they do all this but at the same time they put 10% of their wealth. Now I'm not going to say that they don't put any money into the government. Of course they do. They probably put 30% into the government, right? But that's the sucker shit. Although I'll be honest with you, if you make below a certain amount of money, then the government just gives you back his refund, right? So some people are not really paying the government; they're just paying the churches. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, it looks like nobody cares about this, which is fine because I kind of lost interest too. It's a BAN, and I just wanted you guys to know that. But shout out to Kofi for sharing that with me. All right, so we're gonna go to the next one. Oh yeah, this is good. This one is the ABA. So let me see if I can do this. Nah, never mind. But I call this one "Children Eat Your Bread." I was planning on singing it, but Anyway, so I do want to say the only thing that is humiliating is helplessness. Okay, that's what I want you to understand. The only thing that's humiliating is helplessness. And so here's this woman. This is just an interesting case, interesting video, and I want y'all to see this one.
You just got to do better. Everybody just got to do better. Because you have all these little splinter groups, and let me say something. Splinter groups, y'all are all, except for Umar Johnson, who is Pan-Africanist, and we'll get to this in a second. Y'all are all the little wayward children of ADOS. That's all you are. That's all you ever will be, is little wayward children. You are nothing. You did not create yourself. I'm your mother, like it or not. You walk around saying my words, acting like you created yourself. Ooh, to hear my words come out of a pimp's mouth. Kumbaya. You just got to do better. Everybody just got to do better. Because you have all these little.
All right. So anyway, yeah. So that's that's so that's Yvette Carnell, and she's just like, you are nothing. You did not create yourself. I'm your mother, like it or not. She is on. So somebody says she is on one hand, supposedly leading a movement built on redress for slavery. Yet she herself seems to think she has ownership over fellow activists. Now, of course, this is a whole fool to think that ABA is a bunch of activists, more like activists, right? But either way, this is ABA, enemies within, right? Look, real talk. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Real talk. It's pathetic. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing, but it is what it is. Now I'm going to. I think there was a follow up. I don't know if this is actually applicable. Let me see if this follow up was. Let's see what this was about. Why is okay? So I probably had the wrong link. So I probably pressed the wrong button and got a wrong link. Yeah. So that's weird. All right. Cause I'm just like, I know this guy ain't say nothing about it. Or maybe I probably no, I don't know what happened. All right, but I think there was another. Oh, I think what happened. I was supposed to reference myself. I think I commented on it, because somebody sent me a link. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but let me see if I can find it. Yeah, sometimes you just copy and paste from your phone, and I guess you copied the wrong thing. But yeah, there was some image. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, here it was. So I say, it's a really silly joke. I say, how y'all not African, but y'all got tribalism, y'all shit on. But anyway, I was just messing though. But I just really wanted to save this image because somebody sent me this image. And it goes, because I'm black from Breaking Brown and from Yvette Carnell, so I just couldn't pull her up. But it says, and in the spirit of being Queen Petty for the last 48 hours, let me add that this is not a network, right? This is 12 ADOS defectors who went and filed non-profit paperwork. I cannot with these wayward children. They got to stop scheming and scamming. So this lady says, recognize the grassroots, and there's a national grassroots reparations network. And so what Yvette Carnell is saying is that these are actually defectors. But the thing is that it's how do you form 12, you say your ethnicity, and then you form 12 breakaway groups within 2 years. You know what I mean? Like what kind of disorganization are you on? How easily infiltrated is this African movement? Just imagine if we were fighting this white boy, real talk. We were fighting this white boy, right? Hand to hand or warfare or whatever. We fighting this white boy, right? And then what this white boy does is he turns around and says, no, then somewhere in the middle of the fight, what we do is we then give this white boy we have this white boy somewhere in the middle of the fight, we just break away and form another group. And it's not so much to fight on another front, as they may say, but they're just another group just to fight. And then we do another group and another group until we have now 14 groups fighting against America. This is the reason why nobody takes black folk seriously. Nobody does. Nobody takes black folk seriously. Because what black people do is that we're not we're not trying to sustain a long-term fight. We're not trying to sustain a long-term struggle. We're trying to sustain quick and easy victories. This is why people talk about tangibles, from these presidents. Not so much because tangibles are a good thing per se, but because it's a quick, easy. Look at that. Look what we want. Look what we got. We want little steps. We don't want we're not talking about anything big. We're not talking about anything amazing. We're not talking about anything impactful. because those require work. Those require invasions. Those require fighting. Those require combat. Those require blood loss. We're not about that. We're about putting together some nonprofit and collecting a little bit of dollars from our own people in the name of collecting money from another people. And I'm sorry I forgot to laugh last week. I think it was last week when I brought up the tweet in the shade where he was demanding $20 trillion. $20 trillion. Like anybody. Apparently the GDP of America is like $8 trillion. So they're going to demand 3 years of America's GDP, right? They're going to demand America to give 3 years of its own GDP to black folk. As if that even makes any damn sense. And I mean, you know, it sounds nice. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know, that's what my labor did. You know, my labor earned you 300% of your GDP. Right? It's not nice to say that. But it's nobody's going to do that because frankly nobody likes you. And there's a reason why nobody likes you. I'm going to go into that later. A lot of black folk are just so indoctrinated that nobody likes you because nobody's going to take you seriously. You know, frankly, I'm sitting here wondering, do I still like you? You know what I'm saying? Like, frankly, I'm sitting here wondering if I still like us. Lero says tangibles is just an excuse to not do the work. It's just an excuse to you know, oh, well, we ain't going to vote unless you do this. Man, shut the fuck up, man. We're just going to get some other voters. We're just going to get these Mexicans to vote, man. F you. You know, for a long time, we didn't want you to vote. For a long time, we didn't want you to vote. But now that you get to vote, we're going to make everybody else and their mama get to vote. You know what I'm saying? If you go to McDonald's in South Korea, you can vote. Okay? You go to McDonald's in South Korea, you can vote. That's the new rule. Because they're about their power. They're not about you. And frankly, nobody likes you. Because like you gotta ask yourself, well, what is there to like? You know? Shit, you know? It remind me of this, there's this, so y'all, make sure y'all go read the Carlos A. Cook's book. In the Carlos A. Cook's book, though, there's this scene, or this description that this black man was standing next to this white man. And then this sister is walking by, right? She's walking from across the street, and she waves, you know, at the black man and the white man. Well, she just waves in their direction, right? And she's thick, you know? And so, you know, the white man, he's like a vendor or something. And he notices the black woman waving at him. No, waving in their direction. So he says, yeah, man, you know, her ass fat and she good in the sack, but, you know, I need some money. I can't be giving food for nothing. And meanwhile, this white boy don't know that he's waving at that the woman was waving at her husband who was standing right next to him. You understand? And of course the black man just stood there like, yeah, I mean, I gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's still like, oh, how much do I owe you for this? You know? Nobody like you. They might like you because, you know, your ass fat. You understand? They might like you because, you know, you well endowed. You know, whether you're a black man or a black woman, you well endowed. Sure, they like you for that. You know, or maybe you make a good damn servant. But they ain't going to save you before they save themselves. They ain't going to like you over they like themselves. They ain't going to put you above their own people if they have their own people to put above you. And look, that just makes a lot of sense. And the reason why they're not going to like you is because they're going to say to yourself this. Why the hell are you ain't doing the shit for your own self? Why you ain't doing for you yet? Harsh Reality says cash reparations polls between 66 to 80% negative in all the polls I've seen. It's literally political suicide for any Fed politician to even mention it. These people are delusional. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're black, because it's like one reason why people like, again, people like you if you could serve them. They like you when you can serve them, right? And it just makes a lot of sense. It just makes a lot of sense. You know, if you take yourself out of the picture, if you say, hey, look, you got France and you got England. You know, let's not even go Ukraine again. France and England. And we're going to go later, but still. France and England. Right? The English are going to like the French who are pro-English. That's what they're going to like. They're not going to like the French who are pro-French. Especially if there's a conflict between them. They're going to like the turncoat. They like you when you turncoat. That's actually one of the rules of warfare, in fact. If you guys look at the pro-black companion, you're going to see that's one of the rules of warfare. But like, yeah, you know, that the enemy who defects is worth more than the enemy you kill. The enemy who defects is worth more than the enemy that you kill. So you want defectors. You want defectors. But anyway, so let's just keep going. This is the Manginas. So right here, this is the unarmed. This is another one of the rules of warfare. It says the unarmed rich man is the prize of the poor soldier. Unarmed rich man is the prize of the poor soldier. We're gonna just see what this is. Yo, real talk. I'm gonna probably run out and get some water. I mean, I would send my kid, but you know, what is this? Oh yeah. Okay, so this is just All right, so he says, I've noticed U.S. only attacks defenseless and weak countries. They've never attacked Russia because they understand consequences. America is weak as okay. All right, so why I put y'all. See, the thing is that I be editing this document on my phone, and so what happens is that like sometimes it just doesn't save for some reason. I don't know. But hey, look, I said, look at this. This is it. I want you to understand. Attacking the weak is a one-sentence summary of the art of war. You know, the most famous, maybe the second famous, the quote, all warfare is based off of deception, right, is actually the end of a longer statement on how to attack an enemy. But basically, basically what you would do is you would tell them, no, if they think that when you are weak, you let them think you're strong. When you are strong, you let them think that you're weak. When you are this and so forth, so on and so forth. But I mean, I might be thinking of another passage. But all the same. Attacking. So Sun Tzu at some point he talks about when two armies have perfect defenses, they don't attack each other. You only wait for the other opponent to no longer have a perfect defense, and then you attack. Okay? Right now, Russia's sitting on a good-ass defense. You know, I mean, not good for people in the West. Not good for people in NATO countries, but a good defense anyway. You know, I think I'm going to show it to you guys later. But, no, wait, am I? I think I might. But let me show you this. Let me show you all this. Because some of y'all, this is the only reason why. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I get it. I'm not going to randomly search on YouTube. But one of the things that Putin says is something along the lines of he's going to turn you guys into radioactive ash. He says everyone is going to become radioactive ash. Right? He says if you guys attack me over Ukraine, everyone's going to become radioactive ash. That's a good defense. You understand? That's a good defense. You say, look, it's like when you know, let's say all right, it's like this. For instance, one time I'm sitting in the I was at a lounge, right? So a lounge is just like a lounge is like where you would go to listen to music and have drinks, but it's not quite a club. It's not quite a bar. You know, it's not a bar in the sense that the dance floor is bigger, but it's not a club in the sense that, you know, I don't know what a club looks like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not a club, right? But it's more like, you know, it's chill. You know, there's a bar, but there's a dance floor, and you can dance, whatever, right? So at one point, I think I saw this cute little girl, and obviously they're all adults. I just used the girl, anyway. But I see this cute lady. I'll go sit over next to her. You know, do my little chatting or whatever, and I think her eyes like switch back, and I'm like, what is she looking at? Then there's this big 7 foot, 7 foot, muscular, overweight dude standing over, like, hey, you in my seat. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I might just be. And I get up and walk away. She had a good defense. You understand? Now, not everybody's going to cower at that. I ain't going to hold you. I mean, like, me personally, I don't got to fight over no other man's woman. Because I did see some other dude go sit down and be like, what are you going to do? Maybe, he thought it was worth it. But, for me, it didn't make no damn sense. Either way, yeah. I mean, that's the defense. That's what Russia has, this arsenal. And it says, hey, you know what? I could use this arsenal. I might just use this arsenal and turn you into radioactive ash. Right? However, if you don't have an arsenal, if you don't have a defense, it's like actually the same thing happened. Like I said, I saw this woman the next week, the following week, who I was dancing with the week before. And then she, her man walks up and he's this little scrawny dude. And so I'm like, okay, well, she's like, hey, I'm here with my husband or something. I don't know what she said. I really don't know what she said. But it might be her husband or her boyfriend. I'm not 100% sure, but I still said, okay, well, when are we going to go dancing? Because I didn't care. Dude's 5, I don't matter what height he is, right? But he was small. And I said to myself, look, he ain't going to fight no man over me. He ain't going to fight no man over her. He ain't going to fight no man, period. And if he does, he's just going to get his ass kicked. Like I said, you got to know but there's the same principle right there. Attacking the weak is the art of war. It's the war. It's the art of war. It's like, yeah, okay. And you might say, and this is why I tell y'all. This is why I tell y'all. In fact, go get the Book of Power, right? Because I have this chapter where Amos Wilson would say kind of something like this too. Amos Wilson said something like, black folk are taking. I mean, white man is going to Africa and taking our resources. And so I say, look, real talk. It's not your resources unless you can defend it. It's not your resources unless you can defend it. And one of the things that I remember, because I was sitting down in, like I said, I was in an African American organization, or an organization with a lot of African Americans, well, led by African Americans, right? And the chairman, who was like, he's from the South, and he would tell us that when he was younger, he would notice that white men would walk into black houses, send the black fathers out. Okay? Send the husbands out and sleep with the wife. And then when they finish, they say, all right, you can go back in. They would do that in the South. Why? Because, and so one of the conclusions that he would say was that, one, he said, look, you can't get married. You can't have a marriage in this sort of society. Right? But I would say this, you don't have a wife. You understand? Yeah, like I said, I didn't care that this dude, this woman was married to this dude because he was a punk. And it's not to say that, I don't respect marriage fidelity. I might have had a drink or two at that time, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say that, in the future, if y'all see me walking with a lady, y'all could just hit her up and be like, shit, only said you can't defend her. I didn't say that. Okay? But I do want y'all to understand that this is how the world works. You don't fight the strong. You fight the weak, especially the weak who have something that you want. You understand? If the weak have something that you want, yeah, fight them, take it, and go about your day. Go about your life. Let me see what the comments are. Okay, no comments on that. I'm liking how the likes is going up, so I'm liking the likes. Let's keep them up. Let's go to 100, right? Nah, I'm fine. Right? I wish. Hey. All right. Y'all hear the boys. He's not entertained. But hopefully you guys are. So look at it. I said, look, this is when pictures say 2,000 words. Okay? Now I want you to understand this before we look at this picture. what benefits the enemy harms you, and what benefits you harms the enemy. This is general warfare. This is how white people operate. This is how white people, when you were complaining, when the other one was complaining about, oh, well, you know, you're harming us. Yeah. Like, when you let people know that you're harming them, you're arming them. Okay? You're letting them know to keep it up. You know? What you're supposed to do is let people know that you're not harming them. Like, for instance, like I said, my chairman back in the day, he said he'd always wear suits, right? Because even if he was not doing well, he don't want white people to know they winning. He don't want white people to know that they harming him. You understand? You're not supposed to let anybody know that like that they're harming you. Because people who are against you will then use that. You understand? People who are against you will then use that, and these white folk are against you. Or even if they're not against you, they're for them. And so again, if it harms you, it benefits them. You're like, hey man, you know, you're making our children dumber and less competitive. And so when they're less competitive, they're going to have economic disadvantage, and then they're going to have to work for you, and they're going to have lower wages. And you can't keep doing this, or you're going to just keep getting richer and richer. You know, there's white people looking at it like, damn, okay, I didn't even know that was working. Okay. Shit, is that why our ancestors did this? Shit. Dumbass. So hey, look at this right here. Like I said, this is a picture, when a picture said 2,000 words. So this is on a serious note. We must study the brains of the black man. On a serious note, that's an elder. He is meant to teach the young ones how the world works, yet he believes in fairy tales. This ain't no elder. This is an older. But yeah. Yeah, this is like a picture says 2,000 words. Picture says 2,000 words. Some people allegedly he's praying, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah. Again, nobody's gonna like you. Nobody's gonna like you. Somebody asked why didn't he pay for Ethiopia? Okay. Yeah, I told this boy to be quiet, but you know, I'm trying to teach him to sit down. But yeah, I'm not even gonna go into that. Y'all already know. Like, whatever. This is a past me. I don't have to go into this one either. I'm just gonna say leave those in error who love their errors. Just general description for you guys. Just this will pass me. Just pass these people. This is just wild. Look at this. I hate to say it, but men. Anytime a woman says men, just pass her. Just say nah, that's okay. I'm good. You know. Anytime a woman says men, just say like it's like those brothers who say women. You know, well women well black women just you know. I mean, like obviously there could be some exceptions, but this is not one of them. I hate to say it, but men whose parents look at this shit, whose parents have been married all their life are actually some of the worst in relationships and partners. They are so damn delusional, LOL, and be wrapped up in fantasy land. And then, of course, you know, somebody tries to justify it with they saw their mama deal with the BS and expect it from their partners, all that kind of stuff. What you got to do when you see these kind of things, these people are doing you a favor. You just go through the comment section and just block people. You know, show more replies. Thanks. See, Twitter will use this to make your timeline better. Thank you, Twitter. You know, somebody says this, you, probably is she not? Oh yeah, whatever. But yeah, just block the people. They're doing you a favor by, you know, getting people to agree with them. The people who agree with them are usually just the bottom. Just pass. So we're gonna go through. Just to help you brothers out. This right here. This is important right here. Bats. This is a slippery slope right here. This is the Alphabet Squad. Alphabet Squad is, of course, you know, LGBTQLMNOP, right? That's that. Bats who think they're on birds are in for a great surprise. So this is a slippery slope. And the thing is this, that the people who are complaining about this only complain about one thing when it was all there. It was all there. She goes, I beg your pardon. Now look at this. Stop. See, look, you should have just had this. But then you have this. Stop. Shut him down. No, I'm just But anyway, no. And then look at this, not age. No, and then even the religion thing. Like, real talk, I'm actually done with, I think we just need to, I need to get me an African spirituality and just, just that. But here's this. It was a slippery slope from jump. This is what white folk would do to you. You let them put 1 foot in, and then suddenly you got 10 and 36. And it'll be a 10-year-old black person and a 36-year-old white person. It's going to be that way. Now, she's going to say, I beg your pardon. But you should have begged your pardon over here. You should have begged your pardon over here. You should have begged your pardon over here. But you want to beg your pardon here. And it's like, yeah, beg your pardon over there, sure. But all of them is jacked up, except for this one. But again, if you let these white folk put 1 foot into your house, you are going to let them all in. It's like what Muhammad Ali said. He said, look, man, I'm not saying all snakes are bad. But, just because a handful of snakes aren't poisonous don't mean I'm going to open the floodgates to them. I'm going to close the gates to all snakes. I'm not going to let no snake go around this snake is harmless. I'm just going to open the door for all of them. For what? You should have stopped here. You should have stopped here. You should have stopped here. You probably could have stopped here too. Honestly. A lot of you, this is what I'm saying, like a lot of you, like real talk, man, I don't mess with no Christian women. I try not to mess with no Christian women. I mean, obviously, they're like the hyper majority, but you definitely don't want to do that. But like I said, the 10 to 36, this right here, not age, not race, not religion, this is Jeffrey Epstein. And so, the only correct relationship, I just heard my kids say not gender because I was reading. The only correct relationship is the man and the woman. Okay, that's the only correct relationship. Gotta emphasize that for the kid, And that's within the same race, within the same age, and within the same spiritual system. All right? Different gender, but same race, same age, same spiritual system. Okay, same political ideology. That's how it should be. I'm letting my kid know. I know y'all, I just realized it's a dangerous game to play. But yeah, bats who think they're birds are in for surprise. Like I said, if you thinking that you're a bird, that you one of these white folk, you don't know these white folk were depraved. They've been depraved. They've been depraved. Y'all don't understand that. They've been depraved. I want y'all to understand. As a matter of fact, no, I'm gonna go back and tell y'all this. Y'all not getting it. These white folk, I'll tell you this. Ancient Kemet, ancient Africa had a code of conduct, 42 laws of Ma'at, right? 42, denials of Ma'at, where in that thing they said, yeah, we don't do same gender. We don't do that. And I was trying to say the word sex, but same sex. It's really same sex. We don't do same sex, right? And you say to yourself, well, why would they say we don't do same sex unless they were doing same sex? And they were just telling people not to do it. And it's like, no. What happened was you had a bunch of foreigners outside of Africa, right? Or a bunch of foreigners coming into Africa who were doing the same sex stuff. And if you were to look at the people who conquered Kemet, the people who conquered Kemet are known as the Assyrians. The Assyrians beat the Kemet. If you look at the Assyrians in their culture, they would have that homosexuality legalized. So you're talking about ancient Eurasia had legalized homosexuality. If you're talking about ancient Greece, you're talking about legalized pedophilia. Plato touching them boys. And Plato being touched as a boy. You're talking about this. And you're talking about this throughout the entire, throughout most of the Eurasian world. Okay? So what you have is that you had ancient Africans who were saying, yeah, we're not going to have the slippery slope. No, you don't do this. We're going to have, you heard me say same age before, right? You're going to have different genders. You're going to have same age. And that's what we do. right? And that's why if you paid attention to the ancient African pantheon, let me tell y'all this. So when you look at the ancient African pantheon, of course you can read more about this in the book of Power. Do not forget. But what they would say is that Heru and Aset, Aset and Asar, right? The parents of Heru were brothers and sisters. And if you are not understanding African culture, when they say brothers and sisters, they mean that they're the same age. Basically, like for instance, I wouldn't call my son brother. Like, hey brother, what you doing? Right? Because he's clearly in a different age grade than me. Right? But I mean, I would obviously call my brother a brother, but I'd also call you guys who are my age, brothers and sisters. You understand? And so what you have is that you would then say, if you get together with somebody who's your age, you say, oh, he's with his brother or sister. You understand? And so what they were doing with the Asar Aset story was they were telling you what the ideal relationship is. The ideal relationship is between man and woman of the same age. That's the science in the spiritual stories. But what we were not listening to, we're not even paying attention to. What we're doing is we take the divine family, man, woman, and child, and make it man, father, and a freaking ghost. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what the white boy does to you. And he takes the symbol, but I ain't gonna go into it. You know, some people say the symbol is a penis and a womb, and then you change it to a penis and I don't know, maybe an ass or something. I don't know what the freaking cross is. But of course, that's just that's a little cap. It's a little cap. But anyway, let me see how this. Let me see how the chat's going. I'm gonna really tell this kid to calm himself. You see, somebody hears it. Like Lero was saying, your son sounds so cute. All right, hold on a second. Let me calm this motherfucker down. Yeah, I know this kid can't sit still. All right. El says never show blood because sharks will come for that blood. That's it. That's the law of nature. You do not you don't start bleeding in front of a shark. That's the dumbest thing you could do. You don't turn your back on a tiger. These are just basic things. Like if you face down a tiger, it might not attack you. If you turn your back, you are going to you just turn your back on your own life. Period. You stare down a wolf, he might not attack you. If he thinks you could even injure him, he might not attack you. Nobody thinks you could injure them if you have your back turned. These animals are not stupid. They know your anatomy. They know you don't got eyes on the back of your head. If you're running from a bear, for instance, right? Here's what the bear processes. The bear processes, look here. This motherfucker's tiny. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but anyway. This guy's tiny. 1. 2. They can't fight me. 3. Right? I got way more strength than them. 4. I have way more endurance than them. If this person gets tired while they're running from me, right? If they get tired while they're running from me, right? They can't even fight me. That's why they say that the rule for getting away from a bear, if you're going to run, is to just run next to somebody who you're faster than. Just run away, run faster than the next person. That's all you got to do. But bears know what it is. I'm just telling you, you gotta study nature when you study nature. So this one's gonna be a little bit longer. This is gonna be me with these freaking Marxists. I tell you, man, these freaking Marxists, yo. So just say you're a Marxist. WTF, right? So I'm gonna go to this. It says, without a patriotic political education, a soldier is only a potential enemy. This is Thomas Sankara. But the thing is this, we don't even have patriotic political educations. And part of this is just me I'm gonna be a little wild. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Some of y'all not gonna like this, but I'm gonna tell y'all this straight. A lot of y'all indoctrinated. Period. So, y'all might not know this, but I actually do know I'm actually familiar with Marxist dogma. Okay? I'm familiar with Marxist dogma. I read some Marx. I don't read as much as I used to, but I read some Marx. Alright? So this dude comes out of nowhere. He's talking to Aisha, daughter, I guess. And he says, There's an entire 1,000+ page Fanon book written about Marxist theory. I didn't really follow the conversation because I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, right? But just don't bring Garvey into it. So this is good ideas really have no nationality, Marcus Garvey. Dear black people, it's okay that Marx had brilliant ideas and methodology. Even though he wasn't black, it's okay that some of our brightest African intellectuals were Marxists, Fanon, Rodney, Ture, right? So of course I said to myself, let me just jump in here. What is this? Actually, I didn't see this one. Let me see this one. The idea that anything is perceived to have come out of Europe as anti-black or anti-African is counterintuitive perception. It shows that we're still informed and influenced by the people oppressing us. Opening our consciousness, we imitate white imperialists when we do this. Damn, this is Amos Wilson. Y'all be like, why doesn't he like Amos Wilson? Well, yeah, because it's like, why are you letting people quote you? Just stop saying shit. And then people are quoting you in the most inappropriate ways. Like, he also has that quote where it's like, Elijah Muhammad is the best psychologist we've ever produced. And it's like, the guy's not even a psychologist. Like, what? All right. Anyway. So, look at this. Y'all only do this for Marx. You know, you wouldn't with Smith, Hitler, Caesar, Kahn, or Rhodes. Now, of course, I don't know anybody who do it for Caesar Rhodes, but still, right? Just say you're a Marxist. But don't drag Garvey into it. Marx had decent ideas about white people for white people, that's all. He's no better or worse than the above mentioned. And he even cited some. Boy, if you don't... All right. Anyway, so this kid, man, he's just... So you trying to have him sit down and see how to work the mic, but then he's there getting giddy over reading and stuff and making Lero think he sound cute, you know? I mean, he is cute, but making... Let him think he sound cute. All right. So the comparison of Marx, look at this. The comparison of Marx with Hitler and Rhodes is anti-intellectual and counterintuitive. Marx simply developed an anti-capitalist critique and methodology that people around the world draw from. Centering the messenger and missing the message doesn't service any of us. So look, I want y'all to understand this. Look, and Hitler and Rhodes had no global influence. We're talking about Nazism in Ukraine right now. That's global influence. And I can tell you that Nazism stands for National Socialists. So there was anti-capitalism there too, and an anti-Semitism as well. But now we can say anti-Semitism was in it as well, obviously, right? But Marx, a Jew, can be guilty of that as well. And so for those of you who don't know, this is a paper Marx wrote. Marx wrote this. Hold on a second. See, you see it's on Marxist.org. Works of Marx, 1844. He wrote on the Jewish question. He says the German Jews desire, and the thing is this first sentence right here, Bruno Bauer. He could have wrote this about African Americans. But anyway, look at this. He says, the German Jews desire emancipation. What kind of emancipation do they desire? Civic, political emancipation? So Bruno Bauer replies to them and says, no one in Germany is politically emancipated. No one in Germany is politically emancipated. We ourselves are not free. How are we to free you? You Jews are egoists if you demand a special emancipation for yourselves as... And so you could even say that this is how the white boy looks at you, because when you demand $20 trillion, right? Was it 20? Yeah, $20 trillion. When you demand $20 trillion, you're saying, I want to be on par with white millionaires and billionaires. And white people are saying, look, we're not even on par with white millionaires and billionaires. So what kind of an egoism do you have for you to say that we want us to destroy our own economy to serve you when you're not even the people that we're interested in anymore? We want you out, and you said you didn't want to leave. We told you to get out, and you said you didn't want to leave. We told you, we kept you separated, and you said you want to be with us. And now you want more than us? Out of your damn mind. But I mean, you guys could go and read this. You guys could go read that for yourselves if you so choose. But look here. So he also said after this, because I guess he's long-winded. I don't know. But like I said, these people just say you're a Marxist. Right? He says, try to avoid generalizations also. Marxists aren't monolithic. A great number of us... Bumbleclot. Alright. Try to avoid generalizations also. Marxists aren't monolithic. A great number of us learn from Marx's methodology without centering or worshiping Karl Marx. Anti-capitalist critique is far above and beyond Marx. And you can't center an individual and group struggle. So he's trying to teach me for some reason, which don't make no damn sense. I say, look, I'm not generalizing. You're heralding Marx. as if he was the only anti-capitalist socialist when obviously the movement preceded him and followed him. You dismiss the others on the list outright, something Marx wouldn't even do, but accuse me of generalizing. Hegel precedes Marx. So he's like, I haven't heralded anything. I haven't, wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second, this kid. I don't know why he does that. All right, so I haven't heralded Marx as anything because Marxism doesn't actually center Karl Marx. This boy better stop. Okay. All right, I haven't heralded Marx as anything because Marxism doesn't actually center Karl Marx or Engels or Lenin. That's just your interpretation of it. At the center of Marxism are the class-oppressed masses victimized by capitalist imperialism, not an individual. Hold on a second. I can't. Let's do it. All right. Hold on a second. Let me see. 20 trillion won't close the wealth gap. Real black gentleman says 100 trillion might. Yeah, all right. That was a failed experiment. I can't have this. I can't have the kid enjoying the podcast because he's. I tell you, man. I was trying to send this. I'll tell you the truth. I was trying to put this kid into a martial arts class. You know, for him to get some discipline. I mean, he's kind of young though, no kid, but he couldn't stand still. He couldn't sit still. So it was just like, you want him to sit still because it's going to benefit him. But what was I going to say? Yeah, that's one of the things that the public school system does for you, though, is that it would get your children to lose their personality and lose their ability to, move freely and then just kind of become a robot. And you don't necessarily want that for them, but there's an advantage to it. Is the fact that you can then program them with what you want. So, it's a little bit of a trade-off. Obviously you can give them like a structured, like I said, school co-op. So that's another thing that is an option. But it is what it is. Like I said, there's for every joy there's a price to be paid. When you're able to give people freedom and liberty, you also give them freedom and liberty, and that's always not a good thing. And so you also can peep game as to why other people are trying to control you and how other people are trying to control you and what are the methods for controlling other people. So that's just a little bit of parenting corner. All right, anyway, so let's keep going. I haven't heralded Marx as anything because Marxism doesn't actually center Karl Marx or Engels or Lenin. That's just your interpretation of it. At the center of Marxism are the class-oppressed masses victimized by capitalist imperialism and not an individual. Now, of course, you're just going to say a bunch of nonsense. But look, I said, look, you literally wrote, Dear Black people, I'm going to put sick, right? Because, why are we in quotation marks? It's okay that Marx, emphasis mine, had brilliant ideas and methodology. Now here's what I want you to understand. Marxism is Hegelian dialectics superimposed on Adam Smith's division of labor. Smith, mind you, also spoke on class alienation and oppression. But do you promote Smith? Right? So, of course, I just quoted him. But, of course, he just had to walk out. He was just like, you know what? Shit. The reality is this, that people will tell you, hey, look, I'm going to quote, we just got to quote the thing is that we're so selective. We are so selective, and insofar as we're selective, we're actually controlled. Because the thing is this, none of us are going around talking about, oh yeah, Adam Smith. Or, to make it better, none of us are talking about any of these other people on the list. Right? Even though, for what it's worth, you might, well, with the exception of Cecil Rhodes, I just had to put in one of those examples where, whatever. But, with the exception of Cecil Rhodes, a lot of them could have been informed leaders in their own ways, in their own rights. A lot of them could have had depth, but if you're like pushing Caesar, for instance, today, right? People are going to say, whoa, 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 whoa. Even if Caesar managed one of the largest empires in human history. Even if Caesar managed one of the largest empires in human history. Or at least European history. I actually don't know. But as far as I understand, ancient Rome was actually pretty massive, right? And so it brings me to my third point. I had to send the kid away. I'm actually missing him though. It was fun, but he just kept making a lot of noise for some reason. Black people have been indoctrinated, and that's the tweet. Black people have been indoctrinated, and that's the tweet because the thing I'm going to tell you, right? I mean, obviously I shouldn't say, right? But that's the thing. A lot of those people on the list, you can't talk about. Or even, for instance, when I showed that the document that Marx wrote, you shouldn't read that. Somebody is teaching you to say what is good and what's bad to read, what is good and what's bad to share. And this indoctrination is very, very deep because it's you're going to see the undercurrent throughout all of our dialogue, throughout the zeitgeist, if you will. You understand? Because I was taken aback. I was surprised. Because, like I said, I started watching Star Trek. And in Star Trek, the first season, the original season, right? The original series, they call it, TOS or whatever. They have this episode where I think a Nazi goes into space. No. Sorry, an American travels to another planet, and then he creates a system that mirrors the Nazis. And at some point, the protagonist, James Kirk, says, well, the Nazis had the most advanced system of the 19th century, right? Oh, sorry, the 20th century. They had the most advanced system of the 20th century. The most like they had the best political system of the 20th century, with the exception of the anti-Semitism, if you will, right? Which was very popular across Europe at the time, right? And so what you will find, however, is that you personally, or a lot of us personally, recoil at the thought of any praise toward the Nazis. Just naturally. No, not naturally. So nurturally. We are, and that's not like a ghetto way of saying naturally. I'm just saying by nurture. We have been nurtured to recoil at any sort of praise. Or even to read any of their literature without any sort of approval from other people. And it's to the point where, even when we talk about this Ukraine situation, a lot of us are condemning Ukraine because we believe they're affiliated with Nazis. Can you imagine that? A lot of us are, and so now when you look at that conversation between me and this gentleman, right, you begin to realize that, realistically speaking, he only says this, what he's saying, right? He only says, hey, good ideas can come from any race, because it's Marx. You understand? He would not say it about this gentleman. And what you begin to realize when you start studying us as a people, right? This is why I say we're indoctrinated. What you begin to realize when you start studying us as a people is that the same thing that happened. So like I'll say this. Carlos de Cooks told us, he said Hitler's a good man because he's killing white folk. That's what he said. And I'm like, I can't disagree with that premise personally. Now you might, but I can't, cause I don't care. But here's the thing I want to just jump forward to. And I said a lot of you are already uncomfortable. A lot of you, oh my gosh, but white people are the best. Like that's the subconscious. I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying that. Because look here. Germany put concentration camps in Africa. And nothing. Nobody talks about that. Nobody cares. Nobody's crying. Okay? Germany puts concentration camps on Europeans, and the only outrage there is that, hey, why are you doing this? We're not white folk. We're not black folk. We're not Arab. So now the whole world's concerned. And then you go fast forward, it's the same with Ukraine. And you still going along with it. I'm telling you the truth. Now, see, my son's kind of like background music, and now it's like there's no background music. It's just silent thing. But you have to understand this whole Ukraine outrage is not because people are being bombed. It's not because people are losing their lives. The outrage in Ukraine is because white people are the victims. That's it. And white people are telling you this. And you might be like, nah, you capping. White people are not telling you this. They're not saying this. You just saying that. You just a bigot. You just blah, 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 blah. No. Look at this. Wait, where is it? Somebody actually sent it to me recently. This is my... Look at this.
The unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
The unthinkable has... I don't know if you guys could have heard that. The unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe. That's what they said.
Look at me because I see... I'm sorry. It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed. Children being killed every day with Putin's missiles and his helicopters and his rockets.
And so, of course, I understand and respect the emotion.
He said, it's very emotional to me because I see people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed. Hold on a second. I can't. I don't know what he's saying. We are in the 21st century. We're in a European city. We have cruise missiles fired as though we were in Iraq or Afghanistan. Can you imagine? We're in a European city and we're getting cruise missiles fired at us as if we're in Iraq or Afghanistan. We are being told in many African and European languages who deserves war missiles and who's a good refugee, human.
Marching in, it's changed.
You guys understand it. I didn't see that last one, so I don't care. But you guys understand what I'm telling you. It's not. So again, we shift back to this thing because y'all gonna be y'all uncomfortable. I know we're indoctrinated. We are indoctrinated. Y'all uncomfortable. Y'all saying, wait a second, Oni, are you saying that you read other people's literature and they're not on the approved list? Yeah. That it's troubling to me that it troubles you because again, all these crackers is killers. All these crackers is doing bad things. George Washington was doing... You could read George Washington wherever you want. He enslaved your ancestors. You could read him everywhere, anywhere. No censorship. But if a white person harms other white people, hold on a second. We don't like that. He's not on a good list. If he harmed black folk, he's on a good list. Like I said, Marx is a combination between Hegel and Adam Smith. Adam Smith was also a bigot. Hegel says that African people have no history. This is the basis. The dialectical materialism comes from Hegel. Hegel says African people had no history. They've done nothing historically except for sit on their asses. Period. Adam Smith regards us as savages and chiefs. Marx, if you read through Marx, his whole shtick is, and that's a little Jew word, whatever. His whole shtick is let's put Hegelian dialectics with division of labor and class alienation. And class alienation and division of labor are both in Adam Smith's book. He just took it from him and put in Hegelian dialectics, which is not a real thing. Dialectical materialism is not a real thing. But that's a whole other, like the reason why it's not going to work is because it's not a real thing. But it is what it is. And of course, the Hegelian dialectic was developed based off of him dismissing African history, true history. True history is that African people created great civilizations. True history. But it is what it is. I'm just going to say, look, just say you're a Marxist. And you're not, it's not that you're unbiased, it's just that they gave you an approved list. They said, hey, look, man, talk about George Washington. He's a good man. He enslaved your ancestors. He's a good man. Talk about Thomas Jefferson. He's a good man. He enslaved your ancestors. Don't talk about anybody who killed any white folk, though. Don't do that. That's a butcher. He didn't do nothing. Like actually, I remember I was telling somebody about. So again, I'm watching Star Trek. This is not a black program. This is a white program. They saying Germany was the best damn country in 20th century, except for it's killing white folk. Best damn country in Germany, and like one of the most influential. You understand that they were the ones to develop the science for the nuclear bomb that we're talking about today. They just didn't complete it. You understand? And they didn't use it, but America did. Either way, talking to somebody and they said, oh, well, America did a lot of good things for the world. What did Germany do? And he's like, wait, but Germany's are like the lead engineers, if you will. But, you know, I mean, like, I'm not, like, piggybacking or riding on none of them, but I'm just saying, I want y'all to understand that we are being programmed, we are indoctrinated. And instead of us just being outright and saying, hey, you know what, I just F with, you know, this white boy. You know, I'm a Marxist. We go a roundabout way and try to make other stories, make other excuses. So you just wanted to let y'all hear that part. I know a lot of you are uncomfortable with that, but, you know, sometimes you got to be uncomfortable. Damn, I got another one of these songs. I forgot. I was supposed to be singing this week. So we're going to go to the Nevolutionaries. This is actually the last section. There's no Pan-Africanists this week. Let me see how the comment section is going. I know some of y'all don't want to hear that part. Tanzan says, Marxists are not a monolith, but they desperately try to be. They are memorizing, parroting, and proselytizing what they read in their books. They are like religious atheists. Yeah, they're pathetic. Marxists are pathetic. They're because it's like, just say you like these white boys. Just say you want, that you believe in these white men to deliver you into a future. You know? Just say that. And then just like, I realized, because one of the essays I wanted to write, I'm not sure if I'm going to still write it, but one of these essays, it's along the lines of, you know, really you got to look at the people based off of their ambition. What is your ambition? I think I was supposed to mention that with regard to this week's comments, but I think I might have settled on lean on me, right? But it's like, what is your ambition? A lot of people do not have good ambition for you. Like, you fast forward back up to the BANs earlier this week. You know, one of them wanted German presence in Mali. One of them wanted Nigeria to be disarmed and America to be the world police. One of them wanted reparations from America so that they can have economic parity and blah, 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 blah. The vision that these people have, the vision, the ambition that they have, right, is minor, minuscule. It won't accomplish anything. And you gotta walk at people based off of what their ambition is. So you gotta ask them. You gotta say, hey man, what is it that you want? And how is it that you're going to get that? And when they can tell you what they want and how you can get that, then you could go along with it. Because that's the thing I want to say about this, about that literature. You know, because some people are not going to advise it, but I you know, let's just say someone told me to read this particular article by the Nazi leader, and you know, the dude is like, hey, look, we want race purity, we want a strong military, we want to be able to defend ourselves, we want our manhood back. That's like, yeah, and he's like, we want to be able to feed ourselves and sustain ourselves instead of depending on other countries. The reason why people followed him is because he had ambition. You know, we want to be able to feed ourselves. You're talking about in Germany. We want to be able to feed ourselves. Now here in America, you're saying we want you to be able to feed us. Now some people are going to follow that. I wouldn't. Now, what I want for us as an African people is for us to truly have a dialogue on, we want to be able to feed ourselves. We want to be men and women on our own merits. Now, obviously, you're going to mirror other people who also wanted men and women among their own people and also wanted to feed themselves. And if that's bad, then be bad. But you have to have an ambition for your own people, a mission for your own people. And I mean, of course, I see you know, the viewership and the likes going down and all that. That's fine. I get it. You know, a lot of us do not want anything for ourselves. Truly. A lot of us want hand-me-downs. And we're going to go into it. You know, I might get the viewership a little bit higher when I start singing. So we'll see. I look like I gotta start singing now. Or I might go lower, right? Ah, dang, it just went lower. All right. All right. So facts. So Tanzania says tell the truth. Kobe says facts. There's a video of a man saying, white man saying blue eyes folks dying. Yeah. That's not just any white man, by the way. That's the Ukrainian president, who was a comedian. I found out. He was a comedian. But the Ukrainian president is saying, hey, you know what's really distressing? Is that people with blonde hair and blue eyes are dying. Don't care if any N-words are dying. Don't care about broad nose and kinky hair dying. I don't care about that. What I care about is blue eyes and blonde hair. Look at the corpse. What color the hair? Okay, I care. What color the eyes? Okay, I care. That's how the world really looks at you. Kofi says facts. So EL says Namibia. Yeah, like England had concentration camps in Kenya. Brutal ones. Crushing people's balls. Crushing their testicles. Keeping the Mau in check. You have to fight your way out of that. And then the audacity to be like, hey, you're being inhumane. Only time these white folks was like, all right, maybe these white people, maybe this is a little too far, was with the Belgian Congo. But some people will even tell you that, you know, Congo's a huge region. And Belgium is just doing whatever it wanted. You have to be able to defend yourself because nobody else is going to defend you. No one's going to defend you. Yeah, we definitely are indoctrinated. I fight with a Negro-European family member daily trying to put some sense in that person's head. Yeah, man. Shh. Yeah, look. One thing I want to say is this. When people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. It just means, look, you give them enough information. Like I said, you know, I got books. You give them the books, you tell them to read it, sure. But after that, just leave them on. Let them be. Let them, or just like what I would advise, bring them over here. Make them be the 10th listener or whatever, right? They got 9 concurrent right now. Make them be the 10th listener. Tell them, look, come through. Listen to this. You know, stop whatever you're doing. Listen to this. Get out of church. Listen to this. Kofi says, good stream so far. Thanks, Kofi. I appreciate it. EL says, I feel like Vietnam vet fighting every day. Yeah, just give them the podcast. Give them the podcast. Give them the books. Give them the podcast. Let's go. Let's like they shouldn't be doing whatever they're doing, you know? Or have your little family night and say, look, we sit down today. We sitting down, we listening. We listening to this. We listening to the enemies within. Because you got too many of these people. And I'm explaining it. You know, I'm playing it in plain language. You know, Tanzania says the truth is not pretty. You know that. So what am I going to say about this? Yeah, so lean on me. All right. So then Kenya got his Bill Withers. Got a Bill Withers talking about lean on me. All right. So Bomba class. This the same one before? Okay. Oh no. So look, it says to know how to recognize an opportunity in war and take it benefits you more than anything. So when there's a war going on, if there's an opportunity for you and you take that opportunity, that's what's going to benefit you more than anything else. This is what people... Now look, when I say general rules of warfare, I'm not talking about, hey, look, you know, this is something I made up and, you know, I want to give it a big title. This is Machiavelli, right? You read Machiavelli's Art of War. In the back, he says, hey, you know what? Or like maybe like the second to last chapter or something. He says, hey, these are some general rules of warfare. This was passed down from ages immemorial, right? Europeans and Africans and everybody and Asians have been passing down these certain rules, and I'm just going to repeat them in this book for you. It's not me. I didn't make it up. You know, not to say that if I made it up, it's worse, but I'm telling you, this is what they are operating on. This has multiple translations all around the world for since the time of Machiavelli, at least, and probably for 1,000 years before him. To know how to recognize an opportunity in war and take it benefits you more than anything else. Okay? So we're going to go on. This one might be a little longer. I'm mad I didn't sing a little longer. I was planning a longer singing session, but, you know, sometimes your voice is not always, you know, I'm not like a singer, you know? But here, look at this. Lean on me. All right, let me stop.
Every African country was birthed by the ending of birthed by
Let me just give you context. This is like white people are passing this one around like yes, yeah, like yes, this is what we want to hear from these N-words, you know.
Almost every African country was birthed by the ending of empire. Our borders were not of our own drawing. They were drawn in the distant colonial metropoles of London, Paris, and Lisbon, with no regard for the ancient nations that they cleaved apart. Today, across the border of every single African country live our countrymen with whom we share deep historical, cultural, and linguistic bonds. At independence, had we chosen to pursue states on the basis of ethnic, racial, or religious homogeneity, we would still be waging bloody wars these many decades later. Instead, we agreed that we would settle for the borders that we inherited, but we would still pursue continental political, economic, and legal integration. Rather than form nations that looked ever backwards into history with a dangerous nostalgia, we chose to look forward to a greatness none of our many nations and peoples had ever known. We chose to follow the rules of the Organization of African Unity and the United Nations Charter, not because our borders satisfied us, but because we wanted something greater, forged in peace. We believe that all states formed from empires that have collapsed or retreated have many peoples in them yearning for integration with peoples in neighboring states. This is normal and understandable. After all, who does not want to be joined to their brethren and to make common purpose with them? However, Kenya rejects such a yearning from being pursued by force. We must complete our recovery from the embers of dead empires in a way that does not plunge us back into new forms of domination and oppression. We rejected irredentism and expansionism on any basis, including racial, ethnic, religious, or cultural factors. We reject it again today.
Yeah, all right, sorry about that. So yeah, you know, this is a black man. Like I said, nevolutionaries. You know, I'm not. Hold on a second. Kenneth says you singing now. EL probably said something and just said, you know what? All right. So some of us want to be no more than white people's pets. We need a bigger vision and a plan to execute it. KWZ Radio is here. I came out of the woodworks because I started singing. They were like, oh, shit. You know, they had to say something. Red Black Gentleman says Berlin Conference 1885. Now, look here. So you have this black man. He's probably a leader in Kenya. Okay, he's on the global stage. And what does he do? He says, America says, look here. We're going to need you to not support revolution, to not support expansion, to not support your vision, or to not support the Pan-Africanist movement. You understand? Because I mean, you might be like, hey, you know, Russia has nothing to do with Pan-Africanism, right? But if Russia is saying, hey, look, we want to get our people, or we want to secure our borders, or we want to protect ourselves from this NATO alliance, right? It's your position to be like, you know what? Yeah, I fucks with that. Yeah, look at Tanzania says, what is this BS in this speech? Was it written by the ghost of Cecil Rhodes? Like I told y'all, man, y'all be like, nobody reads Rhodes. I think y'all do. I think some of us do. Because some of you guys do, because I don't. But I think some people do. You know? He was soft, like this, he was soft shoe cooning. This dude comes out of the woodworks. White folks say, hey man, put on your best suit. And you're going to sit over here and read this and condemn another country for doing what you should have done in your continent. You should have retrieved your people on your continent. You should have united your people on your continent. You should have bolstered and bigged up yourself on your continent. But instead, what you're going to do is you're going to stand on the world stage and tell everybody that you have no plans to do anything but back up the world order. I wouldn't put you in the BAN, but this is the evolutionaries. So these are the people who are never going to lead you anywhere. And you got to understand this when we talk about Africa. As the people now, girls, of course, some people might say, hey, man, this is a deception. You know, because even China might say, yeah, we don't agree with, because sometimes you gotta be quiet about your intentions. But this ain't no quiet about your intentions. This ain't no quiet about your intentions. This is picking a side. This is picking a side and picking, again, what is your ambition? What is it that you want for the future? What you want for the future, this black man is telling you what he wants for the future is for the future to have white all on top and black being divided and nothing, holding still to the borders that they gave us so that we would always, perennially, forever be weak. Afro Jam says sickening. Keter says so true when he burns the place with a fist. You already know. I'll just be making stuff up. But yeah, that's it. So I have a bunch of stuff on this conflict because I want y'all to get a hold of this conflict and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna try to go through them really quickly. Obviously, let's see. This is so Ground Up AFC says, let's see. I want people who believe in white supremacy narrative of America controls everything to explain the Ukraine situation. It's like they're white people too. They're white boys going at it. It would behoove opportune nation states to move now that the behemoth is distracted. Take advantage. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you have Kenya, who, like I said, it's this is it right here. Yeah. Because for a second I was like, why do I have this up, right? But right, it's like you're supposed to say to yourself, what can I do now that this white boy is distracted? You know, that's what happened inside of that's how decolonization happened. The white boy, Germany, like I said, Germany, the Nazis, they attacked the British and the French. The British and the French are big time imperialists. Okay, they attacked the British and the French, and they nearly destroyed them. They nearly won. Now, if not for Russia, and somewhat the United States, but apparently Russia really won the war. But if not for Russia, right? Like Britain and France would have lost, right? Here's what happens though. Okay? What happens is this. While Britain and France are defending themselves against Germany, they can't have as much force in Africa. Just like you saw with the AU chair earlier, where he's like, "Hey, can you keep some German soldiers over here so that we can in Africa?" And it's like, "No, we can't afford to keep German soldiers here when we need German soldiers in Germany." And so now, if you're a man, you say to yourself, now, first off, if you're a man, you shouldn't have no other soldiers in your borders, period. But I mean, but that's like if you like real talk, I understand if you do. But here's the thing. What you should say is, hey, look, you got to go and defend your home. I don't know what's happening with Russia. Or you could be like I said, this Kenyan guy, he could be like, hey, you know what? I think that what Russia's doing is pretty fine, and I will commit Kenyan soldiers to that war. I know you like, hey, I don't want a war, but you could just be bluffing, just be bullshitting, or whatever. But you say, I don't stand by you. I think that what you're doing is right. I think the Russians are doing right, and then now the West has to put more resources in defending against Russia, against a stronger Russia, against a morally backed up Russia. Because one thing you got to remember, Art of War, is that the morale of the domestic situation is actually very valuable too. Wars cost money and they cost the morale of a country. And see, America deals with this by keeping us distracted, obviously. But other countries, not to say that America doesn't, fall victim to this too, because that's why they pulled out of Vietnam. That's why they pulled out of Afghanistan. That's why they pulled out of, whatever, right? But the reason why, and I might have mixed up two countries, who cares, right? The point is that, you're supposed to take advantage of situations, but instead of trying to take advantage of situations, black folk are trying to stay enslaved. They're trying to keep the world order intact. I don't know if y'all are seeing this real time, but they're trying to keep the world order intact. And you might say, well, it's a good world order. We can eat and we can so on and so forth. Look, y'all want y'all to go back to last year. I mean, not last year. Go back to yesterday's Bit of Medicine podcast. Harsh Reality was there. Learning Curve was there. I was in the chat. During the conversation, it came up that Hillary Clinton. No, I mean, like apparently the guy was blaming Hillary Clinton, but basically the American State Department has this corporation. So basically in America, we got like an underwear, like you can get underwear from this company called Hanes. Michael Jordan advertises that one. You got Levi's, and you got some other Wranglers or something like that, right? They're basically jean companies, and so apparently a lot of the labor is done in Haiti, and so when the Haitians are asking for higher minimum wages, right? When they're asking for higher wages, what they're doing is they're asking Hanes and Wrangler and Levi's to pay them more. And so what Hanes, Wrangler, and Levi does is says, hey, look, American State Department, who at the time Hillary Clinton was, I think, the Secretary of State, right? But they asked the State Department and said, hey, can you intervene in Haiti or pressure the Haitian president to not raise the minimum wage? Because we want to make cheap jeans and sell jeans at cheap prices, and Haiti is good, cheap labor. And so now, all of a sudden, the Haitian president is being pressured by the American State Department to not change the minimum wage. Otherwise, Levi, Wrangler, and Hanes are going to, they're going to lose profit. Right? So that's the situation inside of that point. So what I'm saying is that this is the world order as we see fit, because there were some people in Haiti who were like, yeah, you know what? We getting some good trade deals with Hanes and Levi's and so on and so forth, and and we're not going to risk that for the well-being of the Haitian masses or the Haitians at large. And I mean, that is a complicated situation. It's not necessarily as straightforward as, just raise the minimum wage and blah, 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 blah. It's not that straightforward. But what I want you to understand and process is that there are people who are going to be on the side of the I want to give you a picture of what the world order is. And the world order is, yes, we're going to keep these Haitians impoverished. Yes, we're going to keep the Kenyans backwards. We're going to keep the Senegalese backwards. We're going to keep the Africans backwards. We're going to keep Mali. We're going to keep French presence in Mali. We're going to do all this stuff, and we're going to do it from our little offices in Washington, D.C., right? And notice that. They call it Washington. After the enslaver, right? But we're going to do this from Washington, D.C., and that's the world order that we want you to fight for, and black folk are taking up arms. Not saying to themselves, hey, you know what? Maybe this is not the world order we want. Maybe we want Haitians to not even have a deal with Levi's and Hanes and so stuff. We'll have our own. They were talking about this in the Bit of Medicine podcast yesterday, the Shoot the Breeze. But they were like, why don't we just make our own jeans and sell our own jeans and have our own trade deals and so on and so forth. And again, it's not that easy. It's not that straightforward. But it could be done. And it would be done, except for you have a lot of black folk, a lot of enemies within. That's the name of the show. Have a lot of enemies within who will stop you, who will harm you, who will and I mean, look, like I said, yesterday they were blaming Hillary. You could blame Hillary, but you could also blame the president. You could blame the Haitian elites. You could blame, you can put a blame everywhere you want, honestly. But I mean, it goes back to who are the enemies within, in the sense that if there are no enemies within, the enemies without can't harm you. If there's nobody who's going to make a deal with Levi, then you could have changed the minimum wage a long time ago. I'll just tell you that right now. But anyway, Afrojam says he's boasting about being weak. Tanzan says, correct. That's why there are few German, Spanish, and Italian colonies in Africa, because they lost the white wars. real black gentleman says Germany wanted Europe as its colony, and you know, like I said, let them fight, and hopefully, and see, the thing is, America bailed out Europe. I don't know if y'all know this. I mean, of course y'all know this, but America bailed out Europe, right? America bailed out Europe and said, hey, look, in the future, y'all got to have my back. And so far, y'all had our back. Y'all had their back. But here's the thing. America didn't even bail you guys out. But y'all have his back too. It's weird. Like, I understand why why Britain has his back. But why you? So, look, I said this right here. I said, I'm going to go through these. I got to go through them quicker, actually. War isn't about what's right. War is about what's left. I've said this so much that I've done changed it, But that's it. War isn't about what's right. War is about what's left. This is why people are fighting. Because see, when you understand the world order that you want, you got to understand that whoever wins sets the world order. Who's left? Who's left in charge? This is why America did not jump into World War II as readily. It said, let me look. At the end of the war, I want to still be in a good position. See, England didn't have a choice. France didn't have a choice. What was it? Germany quickly invaded France. They had a different technique called blitzkrieg. The thing is, why people tell you about it? They tell you about this in public fool system. I remember this in public fool system. They say, yeah, we just attacked them really quickly and they couldn't defend themselves. Because we were still, negotiating and talking, and then we just attacked them. We mobilized. So on and so forth. Africans, and so this is Lero. So Lero's in the chat. Well, she was in the chat earlier. She says, Africans and their moral grandstandings on the Russian-Ukraine situation is hella tired. Folks ain't even discuss Mali to this extent. You already know. I tell you, we're indoctrinated. We only discuss what they tell us to discuss, what they want us to discuss, and we don't get anything done. Let's see if this. I might have accidentally put some other stuff here too. So let's see what this is. Oh yeah. So. And a little bit of chicken no beer on Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right. Yeah, that's how. Matter of fact, I remember why I put this up. I didn't remember for a second, but that's what I remember. It's like, that's how I feel about this. It's like, yeah, what about? I just want to know where they selling chicken right now. I don't care about no damn air raid. Just tell you where they selling chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Let these white folk cannibalize themselves. I don't give a shit. Here's a mission. See, you gotta know how to defend yourself against that. Okay? But I told y'all too. I told you before too. They gonna hit the missiles. They gonna hit the airports first. If you planning on running at the last day, see again, y'all did this is the thing. I told y'all this. I said they gonna hit the airports, and if you planning on running the last day, they're not gonna put you on first. And sure enough, when you start running, they taking other people first. They taking other people first. They're taking you last, if anything. Cause you waiting to run away with them, and they're like, no, fool. We don't value you. We'll risk it all, but not for you. But anyway, for this right here. So like I said, this goes back to the how indoctrinated we are, though. But it's like for those saying this isn't happening. All right, so let me just see what this is. What stage of capitalism is it where people in the U.S. crowdfund online to arm neo-Nazis in Ukraine? And so for those saying this isn't happening, I've seen people claiming to be leftists suggesting donating to this charity when someone asks how they can help Ukrainians, a charity backed by USAID and the Heritage Foundation and led by members of Azov. So you have this, Revive Soldiers, Ukraine, and then this is the director, and then this is also the director. But of course, I wanted to emphasize this too because I said this tweet proves that neo-Nazism is being funded by people on the internet. Because you see how I was telling you earlier, Nazism, not to say that, of course, you don't like Nazism, but the reason why you don't like it is because you're told, hey, you know what, they killed good white people. They killed good white people. That's why you don't like it. It's not that you don't like it because you disagree with any of its political ideologies, because, they talk about race pride and race first and race purity. They talk about manhood and masculinity. They talk about nation building. They talk about this sort of stuff. It's not that you don't like them because of that. You don't like them because they killed, quote unquote, good white people who were at the center of your religion. That's it. That's the only reason. And so you see, it's like neo-Nazism is being funded by people on the internet. You see that we are instinctively complaining about these people for being Nazis. And I mean, of course, there's obviously the other part, which is they don't like, black people. But of course, they don't like black people in their country. It's not that they don't like black people per se. But anyway, but of course, I'm not, defending them or anything. I'm just saying that it's interesting how indoctrinated we are, and that when we talk about free thinking, we also have to realize that a lot of what quote unquote free thinking is just us being censored, to us being censored to not say anything, to offend certain people, groups who have influence over us, and so we're free thinking along the lines of what they want us to think, like for instance, we're free thinking Christians, or we are we're free thinking Christians, or for instance right here. So here's a comment by this Russia. Russia decides, okay, if we're gonna start talking shit, why don't we just say it with our chest? Let's just be honest. He says Russia does not recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, which are a part of Syria. So Polyansky called out Israel on using the word Tel Aviv, which indicates Russia does not recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, but as a Palestinian city at UNC. So there you have it. This comes after Israel backs the Ukrainian conflict. So Israel says, okay, we don't like that you're invading another country and defending your borders. And so Russia's like, well, it's the same shit that you do it. Nobody says anything. It's only, again, like at the core of all of this, and I already showed you the videos, but the core of all of this is that, you too. You know what I'm saying? Because again, remember, those people before were black nationalists. You too are being told by other people, white lives matter. You too. And I'm telling you, you might be like, hey, it's just a little strange, and of course we have to understand the enemy within also extends to ourselves. Is there a little enemy within us too? Oh, and so I already showed you guys this one.
It's very emotional for me because
yeah, but you get it. That's now that was a long tangent for this one, but it is what it is. Now, here's another one. So I want you guys to figure this one out. This is Frederick Douglass, Freddie D. But before we continue, let me just remind you guys again, I'm in a podcasting network. So make sure you guys check out these good brothers and sisters.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the revolutionary matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
Yeah, so I'm mad I had to send the kid out, but it is whatever. So right here, this one is going to be, I must be the damn 48%. But let's do some Freddie Douglass, where he says, the doctrine that submission to violence is the best cure to violence did not hold good as between slaves and overseers. Whoever was whipped oftener was whipped easiest. Now, listen to this. This is on the plantation. Frederick Douglass was born enslaved. Okay? He might have been born from a mixed relationship, possibly his master and a whatever, or his enslaver and an enslaved woman, right? But he was still born enslaved, okay? And he says this, look, if you were on the plantation and you submitted to violence, okay, right, you would be more abused than somebody who did not submit to violence. Again, the basic art of war is that, and you know how the guy said before, he said, America, you only attack the weak. Yeah, they only whipped you on the plantation because you were weaker than them. That's the only reason why. I mean, that's not the only reason why they also want you to do stuff, but the reason why you were with is because you were weaker than them. Power is the ultimate defense against other people. That's it. It's like yeah, if a lot of times people do not harm weaker people, and that's a good thing. You shouldn't necessarily harm weaker people. But a part of the thing is that if you want something from a weaker person and they won't just give it to you, then yeah, you might just harm them. Why? Because what are they going to do about it? They're weaker than you. I mean, obviously, you live in a society where there are penalties and penalizations for that, but there are such things as societies where there aren't those sort of things, or even there are times when you just won't get caught, or you can get away with it. For a large part of America's history, like I want to say up until the 60s or 70s, no, up until the 50s, up until the women's rights movement, you could force yourself on your wife, I guess. I think you could also beat her, I guess. I don't know. But then also there was also the matter of just beating children in the schools. Like the teachers would beat the children in the schools, and this is something that still goes on, at least in Africa, but probably in Asia. But it was really popular in America. And remember that Americans, or the British in particular, the French and all that, they brought this school system to Africa. So it's not necessarily that it's an African thing, as much as when people bring you something, you'll have that thing until you change it. But a lot of times you don't really change it because it's not your thing, like it's not your system. It's, you know what I mean? Like the laundromat. Nobody's changing the laundromat because like we just found it convenient. You know what I mean? Like we're not, you know what I mean? Like you just find it convenient, or it has its purpose. It has its use. Anyway, so, I mean, of course I'm not endorsing, at least the domestic violence thing. That's weird. But I'm just saying that was like a recently changed phenomenon in America. Like a lot of those older videos you see are those sort of things. So he says, so I say I must be the 48%. Why do I say I must be the 48%? Wait, was it the 48% or the 52%? I'll have to double check. I think I was just trying to make a joke, and then I might have messed up on the... Yeah, okay, good. So, 52% of Jamaicans with higher levels of education... Remember, this is the evolutionary section. 52% of Jamaicans with higher levels of education believe Jamaica would be better off if it had remained a colony of Britain. Okay? Yeah. So this is Jamaica. So I said I must be part of the 48%. Or I guess I should have said the 28%, because I was maybe I'm part of the strongly disagree. But would Jamaica be better off today if it had remained a colony? And the people with low education, 47% say yup. Medium says 48% say yup. And high education is like yup, definitely. Now I'll give this is only 1,100 people in 84 communities. And allegedly the sampling error is 3%, which I don't think that really pans out if you only have a small sample size. But the reality is that even if it is a small sample size, let's say it's 50%, you got 500 people walking around Jamaica right now, which is not a lot, who are definitely saying Jamaica would be better off as a colony. And then at the same time, you at least only know, and see that's the reason why it could be why the sampling error could be so small, is because this is such a big gap. Like if it were a closer number, you might say, okay, maybe there's like a little bit suspicious, but the fact that you could probably find, I'd say roughly 25% of people, 1 out of 4 people would say, no, I don't think so, and the next 1 out of 4 is saying, I don't know, I don't know how it would be, right? It tells you what's going on in Jamaica, but also just generally what's going on among our people, I just wanted to put this up because I saw it and I was like, yeah, and it's within, and I originally I didn't look at this to say, I was going to say it was the higher education people, but it's not even the higher education people. Our people do not have faith in ourselves, and it's not unreasonable that we don't have faith in ourselves. It's not unreasonable. But what it tells you is that one, you have a lot of people who are just looking back with rose-tinted glasses. Okay, a lot of people are just looking back with rose-tinted glasses at colonialism, right? And two, two, there's going to be people who are going to say that you're looking back with, I don't know what kind of tinted glasses, but the other tint, whatever tint doesn't make it seem good. So if roses are good, I don't know. I don't know what's bad, but whatever. They're gonna say you're looking at it from a negative way, right? Either way, this tells you what's in our future. What's our ambition? I told you this. What is in the ambition of the Nevolutionary? The Nevolutionary is challenged on an ambition level. What is it that you want? And you see this background image. I just pointed you guys can see. You see this background image of these black people just graduating to under this white system to serve white people. It's a little suppressing. Oh, so Ketcher's here. Ketcher says, not surprised, this poll represents most of the English-speaking Caribbean nations. Tourism is just colonialism by other names. These hotels are plantations, nothing more. This is Menchu Htp. Cool Jamaican person. He says, it makes sense. The Jamaican fool system is an Anglo-Saxon indoctrination doctrine. But see, again, it's not even higher education. It's all the educational groups. It's even low education, which might, I guess maybe they don't have uneducated, but this is what it is. This is how you expect it. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's what you expect. Oh, I forgot to read the comments earlier after the break. So it says, Tanzan says, can Black America bail Africa out? Nah, Black America can't even bail Black America out. Germany wanted Europe as Black America can't even bail Black America. If I were Black American, I would focus on developing the hood. We were talking about this yesterday. I think Harsh Reality Podcast was there, and I made a comment about the military, and he said, look, Pan-Africanists have to develop better alternatives for black folk in the hood than the military has. And the thing is that I would say just to whatever, the military has a huge budget. The American military has a huge budget, but Black Pan-Africanists do not have a budget like that. But on top of that, I want people to understand too, because there was this conversation I was having with brother Omari. If you guys don't know Omari, he's a good brother, a good Garveyite. One of the few Garveyites out there, right? And he was talking about, hey man, Mali needs to reach out to black organizations, black American organizations, possibly black organizations in the diaspora and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, nah. Why do I say nah? Because real talk, if I was reaching out to any other people, I would want them to have some military production level. I would want them to have a record, of developing people and engage, and so on and so forth, and doing things for themselves and really being something to reach out to. If Mali reaches out to Lockheed Martin before it reaches out to, I don't know, LaQuisha and Martin, right? If it reaches out to Lockheed Martin before it reaches out to LaQuisha and Martin, I'll understand. Just like I said, if the brother in the hood reaches out to the U.S. military for his well-being, I get it. Because if you're not because we're not doing enough for people to reach out to us. You know what I mean? Like sure, you might be like, okay, well, Honey, at least you homeschool your kid and blah 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 blah. Sure, but other than that, outside of that, I don't. If somebody didn't reach out to me for their economic well-being, I would completely understand. I'm not holding it against them. I'm not saying, hey, so it's like when it comes to Black Americans, it's like if you could have done something, you would have done something to the hood. If you could have done something, you would have done something for the 50% of us living in the hood. But the fact that you never do anything for the 50% of us living in the hood tells me you can't do anything for anybody anywhere outside of anywhere on the planet. It tells you that nothing could be done for you, and nothing could be done through you. That's what it tells me. Because I'm not going to say that, because actually, no, in fact, that's what it is. One of the rules, like I said, I take the ferry. One of the rules of the ferry, or I take the airplane. I fly sometimes, right? One of the rules is that when you got to put on the life vest, You put it on yourself first, and then you put it on the person next to you. You put it on the kid next to you. You don't even put it on the kid before you put it on yourself. You put it on yourself first. Then you put it on the kid next to you. Then you put it on some stranger if you can. Right? But the first person you're supposed to save is yourself. And if you're telling me that 50% of us are rotting away in the hood, 50% of us are suffering from police brutality, and 50% of us are suffering from people kidnapping us and torturing us, and human trafficking, and drugs going bad, and gun warfare, and this and so on and so forth. You telling me that all that's happening, and then you gonna do something for, or you gonna bail out a whole other country or a whole other continent? That make no damn sense. You should bail out. If you could have done that, you would have bailed out yourself. It looks like, I'm telling you the truth, looks like ain't nothing gonna happen for them. You know, the best thing you could do if you a mouse in an experiment, right? What you need to do is you need to just get the fuck out of that, get out of the laboratory. If you in the projects, you heard me say experiment, right? If you're in the projects, the best thing you can do is get out of the laboratory. And the whole country is a project. It's a project to see how dumb can we make these Negroes. That's the project. And I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. Carter G. Woodson is quoted as saying. Matter of fact, let's pull it up. Cause I tell you, I have this quote in this collected quote series. So let's see if I can. Yeah, collected quotations. So Carter G. Woodson, there was actually a discussion earlier today. I didn't get to catch all of it or catch most of it, but about Carter G. Woodson's book. And you know, this brother's a good brother, Carter G. Woodson. In fact, we just closing up on Black History Month. This is, I guess, the second last day, right? Shortest month of the fucking year. But anyway, Carter G. Woodson, he says, he talks about, he's gonna let you know about Black Americans, what Black Americans really mean. What Black Americans really mean for the world, and like what's the true meaning of Black Americans on this planet? Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Yeah. So he says, look, the American Negro has taken over an abundance of information which others have made accessible to the oppressed, but he has not yet learned to think and plan for himself as others can do for themselves. He's like, yo, the Black Americans, they have a lot of information at their like they're sitting in the one of the information hubs of the planet. But they don't use this information to better themselves. Well, might this race be referred to as the most docile and tractable people on earth? He says, look, the African American, this is Carter G. Woodson, this is the father of Black history. We in his month. He's saying, it's not me. He said, this race may be referred to as the most docile and tractable people on earth. This is the father of African American history, telling you he might just be a member of the most docile and tractable people on earth. And it might be an exaggeration, it might be hyperbole, but it's an informed opinion. It's an informed opinion. This merely means that when the oppressors once start the large majority of the race in the direction of serving the purpose of their traducers, the task becomes so easy in the years following that they have little trouble with the masses thus control. He's like, look, when these white people want us to do something, we go and do it. It is a most satisfactory system and has become so popular that European nations of foresight are sending some of their brightest minds to the United States to observe the Negro in action in order to learn how to deal likewise with Negroes in their colonies. They got English people and French people going all the way to America saying, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? You know, they're like, tell us how you are making these people so docile and so tractable. Because I want that in Jamaica. I want that in Haiti. I want that in Nigeria. I want that in Kenya. I want the African American mentality all over the planet because they're doing something right, because they are they're literally going to just sit here. And it's not me. You might be like, hey, Oni, man, fuck you, man. You talking about African Americans? Fuck you, man. It's not me. I'm saying, like this is the miseducation of the Negro. This is Carter G. Woodson. He said, well, the Negro in America has become satisfied what the Negro in America has become satisfied with will be accepted as the measure of what should be allotted him elsewhere. Whatever you give the African American will be accepted elsewhere. Certain Europeans consider the solution of the race problem in the United States as one of our greatest achievements. One of our great achievements. They say, you know what? Of all the people on the planet, the white man has given us the best solution for the achievement. In fact, when we talk about Nazis, when we talk about Hitler said he learned this shit from America. The only thing that's different is that he applied it to another white group. That's the only difference. He said, I learned it from America, but I applied it to a white group. And so now all the white people are like, hey, hold up. Hold up. You can't do that against human beings. I know some of you, like I said, some of you going to be like, hey, fuck you, Oni. What? Come on. You know, look, I went in on Jamaicans earlier, didn't I? Wait, I'm still going on Jamaicans. Y'all like, how you turning from Jamaicans to us? What? Like, all my followers left. What's going on? No. All right, let me see. Let's go to the comments. Oh, no, sorry, that was about so 10 cents can Black America. Yeah, look, I wouldn't even hold my breath. If you hold your breath, you're going to suffocate. If you went in on Black America to be the final, the solution to something, you're going to suffocate. You know, don't hold your breath. That's just what an IS is. Afrojam says Nazi expanded in Europe because their colonies in Africa got taken from them post-Great War. Yeah, they were pissed. They were mad. They understood. And like they were mad at what was going on. They were mad at what the world order was becoming. Okay, they were mad at what the world order was becoming. And they didn't want to be second place, second fiddle. They didn't want to be on the bottom of anybody's system. You understand? They put up a fight to not be on the bottom of anybody's system. They put up a fight to sit at the big boy table again. Right? We, on the other hand, we stay wanting to be on the little boy table. That's the difference. That's the difference. And so that's why I said, like I'm not going to tell you guys to go and read it and stuff. You know, I did read a couple and I was like, you know, this is not that bad. This is not as bad as I thought it would be. Because, you know, people will tell you, oh, yeah, this guy's a failed artist and he couldn't finish school and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, if you're being realistic, you know, like you looked at his artwork, it wasn't bad. You know, like I've seen worse artwork. I mean, it was actually like it just wasn't expressionist. It was like straight up photo. Like it's kind of like photorealism, but not as good as the photorealistic, you know, artists that we know today. But you know, pretty good architecturally. If you were to look at it, like honestly. Anyway, but what does it say? There's videos of Africans being left at train stations in Ukraine and the Polish borders. Yeah, because black folk just don't get it. You know, they just don't get it. We just don't get it. Nobody's going to put you ahead of them. You know, in times of abundance, sure, you know, you can get a plate. But in times of scarcity, you are going to be left out. And their times of scarcity are coming. Okay? Tanzania says Africa is still following a lot of the old colonial systems in politics, administration, economics, and especially education. Yeah, what we need is us, those individuals who are inspired to try something different, to go and try something different. Okay, and we have to defend whoever does that. That's why I say you got to question the ambition. Some people want the politics, administration, economics, and education to keep going. They want the old colonial system back. Some of us want the old colonial system back. This is what I've said. 50%. I mean, if this was to be believed as a poll, it's just a legitimate poll. 50% of people in Jamaica want the colonial system back. Of course, they're not going to change the politics, administrations, economics, and education. Why would they change it if they want the freaking old system back? And so it behooves us to go there or to go around among our people and say, look, we're going to do another system, like it or not. Because you're going to have your resistance from your own people. You're going to have resistance from your own people. So you just got to act accordingly. Sometimes you got to, you know, hit somebody in the mouth and tell them to shut the fuck up. Just hit him in the mouth. Say, shut the fuck up. Sit down. We're doing this. The school's going to be teaching about Kemet now. We're doing this. We're going to start talking about Nanny. We're doing this. We're going to talk about Nzinga here. We're doing this. Shut the fuck up. You know, somebody, you know, you could go any country. Don't matter. Say, look, we're talking about Taharka, Nzinga, Nanny. Period. You know, in fact, if you look at my books, in fact, those same three individuals, they're in my books. Probably all my books. They're just there. You gotta mention them. I don't care. Pan-Africanism. That's it. And if people don't like it, tell them, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I don't care what you like. Honestly, because what you like is this white boy, and I don't like this white boy. Afrojam says Russian mercenaries and special forces were training, fighting in numerous wars in Africa before this war in Ukraine. Yeah, nobody cared. Afrojam says people from the Caribbean have little interest in power. Fact. My family is Jamaican. Yeah. Ketcha says this was so shocking to read, but it's representative in the Caribbean. Yup. Real Black Gentleman says I wish the Caribbean islands would form a Caribbean union. Yeah, I mean, look. See, but think about the Caribbean islands. I'll be honest with y'all. They're tiny. We need what we need. I mean, I would love a Caribbean union because and they're water isolated. They're next to America. It's kind of like I wouldn't mind, obviously. But again, when we look at Africa or we look at the Caribbean islands, you got to remember that a lot of the leadership are just people who like the 50% you're talking. That's 50% of the government. Probably more than 50% of the government, right? That's probably more than 50% of the government. Maybe like 70% of the government is looking back like, hey, I wish England would colonize us again. Oh man, if only England could recolonize us. You talking about, this is why, like other people say, Mao cleaned house. Mao Zedong cleaned house. I was watching, somebody told me, because I showed them an article by Hitler, I guess. And they said, oh, you should go watch Downfall. So I'm watching Downfall, right? And Downfall is basically like propaganda against Hitler. It's like, hey, Hitler's a piece of shit. He's unstable and whatever, so on and so forth. Well, during one of Hitler's, instabilities, right? Which is, it could be pretty accurate. But he says, you guys are the best generals in Germany. You guys are the best generals in Germany, and then you deliver this loss to me, right? And I should have done like Stalin. Like the reason why Stalin is winning is because Stalin killed the generals, and I just kept you guys alive. I should have never kept you guys alive. I should have killed y'all because y'all are pathetic, right? But it's like, that's the difference. Stalin killed his enemies. In fact, Trotsky, if y'all remember how Trotsky died, Stalin killed that guy. He had a spy set up. I think the spy was like some lady he was flirting with, because Trotsky liked his women, which is, who don't like women, right? Woman comes over and then she just kills him with an ice pick, eventually. But like, she's living with him for like years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the spy, the spy who shagged me, literally, right? Or the spy who shanked me, right? But yeah, you kill your fucking enemies. When I tell you guys about enemies, and I'm not saying you're gonna kill all your enemies, but you gotta understand. I mean, right now Tanzania's laughing about hitting them in the mouth. And that's the peaceful way. But you gotta understand that if you just hit somebody in the mouth, that's not gonna end everything for them. That's not gonna end their shenanigans. It might just make the shenanigans worse. So I'm just gonna let y'all know, But see, I'm in a country where you can't say everything. It's freedom of speech, extends only so far. But what I want you to understand is that, yeah, other people have killed their enemies. I'm not saying that you should or you shouldn't, but definitely, if nothing else, punch them in the mouth if you could get away with it. But if nothing else, and like other people like imprison their enemies. Maurice Bishop would tell us that, after the American Revolution. Okay, so the American Revolution happens, and look at this right here. I'll tell y'all this. So you see how you say 50% of Jamaicans want the colonial system back? Back during the American Revolution, 30% of Americans wanted the English back. 30% wanted revolution. Okay? Wanted America to self-govern itself. And then there was another 30% who had no opinion. Right? And because of this, right? After the revolution, those 30% of Americans who wanted the British to come back, or who wanted the British system, they were banned from owning property. They were banned from voting, and some of them were in prison. Some of them were jailed. Some of them were killed. This is the United States of America. And Maurice Bishop would tell you this. And again, like I said, if you want to see the quote, obviously you pull up the Maurice Bishop speech on Hunter College, right? Or you pick up the Book of Power and you check it out there. But the point being that Everybody understands this. This is American history. I'm telling you. Everybody understands this. You got a good amount of people who are against you. That's well and good. You get these 28% that disagree. You organize. You take over. And then those 50%, you remember their names. Write them down. And yeah, hit them in the mouth. Or no land, no voting rights. Sit down and shut the fuck up. Eat your porridge. Okay, eat your porridge. That's it. In the words of what was his name? Damn, how I forget this guy. What was his name? Slick Rick. Sit down, eat your slice of pizza, and be quiet. You know what I'm saying? That's it. All right, I was about to keep rapping, but I'm gonna stop. I know nobody want to hear that. Let me keep reading these comments though. But Caribbean Union. Yeah, Caribbean Union. So, Afro says Caribbean countries have such a disproportionate diaspora versus homegrown population. Every family got a lot of people born abroad who will never come home. Yeah. Unfortunately, but again, like those islands were just places that we were, like all those plantations were just places that we were supposed to, work the ground. Black folks need to sort out this colonial mismatch. Pick up 2 or 3 languages and run with it. Hit them in the mouth. Tanzan's laughing at that. Keda's laughing at that too. Real Black Gentleman says, I think black people are grossly underestimating maritime potential. Yeah, so they do have a good maritime potential. My only thing is that there's like a tiny population compared to an African nation. Like but if nothing else, I would definitely advise us to invest in the Caribbean islands, because one of the things that you pick up on is that look. See, the thing is this, that you heard earlier. Who was it? In fact, it might have been Tanzan asked, "Can Black America bail Africa out?" Right? When I went to Jamaica, I noticed that they were producing things. They have a nice shipping, trading, relationship. Like I was like, for instance, I go to Ghana, and in Ghana, like in the stores, everything is kind of like from the foreigners, right? But like from foreign countries, like Belarus and so on and so forth, right? But there's nothing from African countries, okay, with the exception of South Africa. But there's no products from Nigeria. There's no products from Kenya. There's no products and so on and so forth. But when I was in Jamaica, there were products from Trinidad. There were products from, I'm not sure if it was Haiti, but I think there were products from Haiti. There are products from Barbados. There's products from. So what you have is that the Caribbean islands were producing goods and trading goods among each other. Now, I don't know if it was black owned, but they had the infrastructure to engage in international trade, even if it's just among the Caribbean islands. But if you extend that international trade to Africa, right, then you have it all together. Now, see, the issue is that a lot of us are under the impression that the Black Americans have a lot of money. But again, if Black Americans had a lot of money, they would have developed the hood. You understand? If they had a lot of money, they would have developed the hood. You don't have a lot of money. Because otherwise, why would you not develop your own people? First and foremost. Right? So we believe that Black Americans should be in fintech. And of course, there are some Black Americans who have a lot of money. But then, of course, at the same token, you have a lot of Black Africans who have a lot of money. You have a lot of Black Caribbeans who have a lot of money. So it's not to say that, we collectively in the Americas, or in America, in the United States, have, or just sitting on this, this financial empire, and we just don't know how to invest it. It's that we just don't have this financial empire, and we can't invest anything. Like honestly, if you want to start a business in America, you go to white boys and say, hey, you got a financial empire. So that's the issue right there. So I would say, yeah, definitely, the Caribbean islands are if like you could. I think if you were talking about Pan-Africanism, you could include the Caribbean islands and just ignore America. Or you could just ignore the Caribbean islands and ignore America and just focus on the continent. So you have two choices there. But honestly, you can. But honestly, that's where it comes to. It comes down to, yes, you could definitely, like, the infrastructure is already in the Caribbean islands because they have the boats, if you will. Now obviously boats are not going to reach every part of Africa. And obviously you can have planes, but they have the boats. They even have the planes if you're being honest. They have the boats, they have the planes, they have the airports. They could build the airports. They have the autonomy. They have the independence. So it's definitely something to consider. And then, of course, as long as you remember that there are great resources to be had in the Caribbean islands. Like, yeah, if we're serious about Pan-Africanism, see, the thing is that when you become serious about Pan-Africanism, you begin to realize that a lot of us pay too much attention on America. And because we pay too much attention on America, where they have no access to resources, where they don't build or develop any weapons, they don't have any airplanes, they don't have any air. But when you pay too much attention to America, what happens is that you begin to dilute what Pan-Africanism is all about. Because if it's about building powerful economies or powerful nations, then you would go to the nations that are weak, not necessarily people who don't have a nation. But of course, I don't want people to think I'm being on a dead horse, right? Real Black Gentleman says, I think, so yeah, I mean, yeah, we're grossly underestimating, but we have to let's make the move. We have to make the move. A lot of us are not making the move, and that's the issue. Ketcher says, after every revolution or even change of government, you have to eliminate the enemies. Look at France after their revolution, guillotine power. Yeah, not just that. It's like even when the parties shift, you clean house. You say, hey, were you loyal and faithful to the older political party? They say, yeah, I'm loyal and faithful to the older political party. Okay, you're gone, and we're gonna put in this person. You don't necessarily put in the you don't put in the opposition. You don't keep the opposition in positions of power. That's it. And the thing is that what we we are sitting by as the opposition to our goal are in positions of power. Just FYI. KWA's Radio says they have spending power but no interest in developing the hood. I look at the hood situation and I'm saying to myself, yeah, it would be really the spending power is not there. I don't think the spending power is there in the sense that like I said, Brownsville's in Brooklyn, right? Sister was telling me that factories, like back when the black folk in Brownsville had factory jobs, it was a safe and good area, right? Back when black people had factory jobs, it was a good and safe area. And what happens is this, that you can't necessarily afford, we don't have the spending power for factories in America. Because those factories are tens of millions of dollars, and you're going to have your international trade agreements, and you're not going to have international trade agreements, and you're not going to have those tens and $20 million to just put into a factory so you can pay these black folk good wages, when, realistically speaking, even white folk don't see the economic behind that. Even white folk are saying, you know what, I could just get the same factory. Like I said, when we were talking about, so KW's Radio, like I said, Bit of Medicine Podcast was, he's on the Canadian Radio Network. And Bit of Medicine Podcast was saying, was putting out an article about how Levi and Wrangler were trying to, pay seamstresses or clothes makers or whatever. And in Haiti, the smallest amount of money they could pay. And the reason why they're trying to pay them so little is because, but now imagine this. Now imagine you say, okay, well instead we're going to, like essentially they don't want to pay Haitians even $15 a day. But if you were to open up a factory in New York, right, New York City, and you weren't going to pay $15 an hour. No, if you were going to pay $15 an hour, you'd be, you wouldn't get anybody to work for you. You know what I mean? Because what happens is that you could pay people, what was it? $15. Oh yeah, so I was walking by this, I can't remember, I think like a Chipotle or something, or some sort of restaurant. But when I'm passing by them, and they're paying you $18, $19 an hour to fill a burrito. You know what I mean? They're paying you $15, $18. They're paying you $18, $19 an hour to fill a burrito up. There's no way you're going to make a jean company and tell people to work to make jeans, and you're going to pay them $15 a day in America. You can't do that. Now, compound that. To make this factory, up to American code and with American resources, it's going to cost you millions of dollars as opposed to make it up to code of Haitian code with Haitian resources. You understand? And then you could get away with paying them $15 a day, if not $5 a day, which is what they're paying them. So if even if Black Americans had the money to build a factory in Brownsville, do they have the money to pay multiple Black Americans above minimum wage to compete with white folk for this factory position? And then when they do make that gene, right? If Levi is getting away with paying $5 a day, right, with all its resources, and these Black Americans are paying what would be let's say it's $20 a hour, right? And it's 8 hours, right? So $160, right? So we're paying $160 an hour. $160 a day, versus $5 a day, right? How much you got to pay? How much you got to charge for the clothes you're making? And now, when you're charging all that much money for the clothes you're making, who's buying it? And if nobody's buying it, guess what? You lost your whole business. So it's like now technically you could say, hey, Black Americans have the money to buy a factory in another country, but then you'll still run into that minimum wage problem. You know, a lot of it is really complicated. A lot of it is really going to be harsh and hard. A lot of it is going to there's a lot going on this planet. But honestly, yeah, I would say I don't like, if you can't build back the factories, you can't get the jobs back for our people. If you can't afford that, you know, your people are in trouble. And Martin Luther King Jr. saw the writing on the wall. Okay, Martin Luther King Jr. saw the writing on the wall, but we ain't listen. He said, hey, look, man, we're becoming obsolete. We're being replaced, and this is something that Karl Marx said too. He said, look, humans are going to be replaced by machines. You know, that's a whole John Henry story. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's go. Red Black Gentleman says, the problem with developing the hood is that the hood is never a strategically chosen location. Yeah, I mean, again, you're in an area where essentially the same labor that essentially so basically Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for black folk to get training, right, so that they cannot be economically useless in a sense, right? And so what happened with that was that if you want basic labor, you can get it for cheaper anywhere else but America. You know, Black Americans used to be the cheapest commodity. Well, not the cheapest, but before America, they used to be the cheapest commodity because you didn't pay them. But now that you have to pay them as much as you pay white folk, yeah, they're just not going to pay you. And then now, when they're not paying you, you're going to suffer because you're just going to slowly die. You know, Tanzan says, we do tend to ignore the Caribbean. I admit my ignorance. It's good to know. That's good. You know, everybody. Like I said, I was sitting down in Jamaica, like, damn, you know, like they had this soda that I was drinking. I can't remember what it was called. But if we just sold that, see, we could include America by just selling that drink in America. You know, we could just sell the soda in America. So that instead of us in America drinking Coca-Cola and whatever, we could drink whatever they're producing in the Caribbean islands. And then when we do that, the just off of that, you know, money comes in, like 40% returns or something, you know, because the dollar is worth less in Jamaica, you know. So just off of that, you get a whole bunch of money, and then you can invest that into bigger and better projects. But instead of that, we don't have any Pan-African solidarity, and so our people are going to be backwards, you know. But again, I don't know, you know, again, like if you're looking for high wages, or if you're looking for regular wages in America, you know, white boy is saying you're out of luck because there's other white people. Like basically, like I said, you go back to Karl Marx. Karl Marx is really, if you want to understand what Karl Marx is about, it's about what communism is about. It's about machines replacing humans, and because machines are replacing humans, the proletariat is going to become useless. And when the proletariat is useless, the capitalists are no longer going to finance their living, their well-being. And if they no longer finance their well-being, they're going to die. And so the communist revolution, the proletariat revolution, is about the proletariat taking over the corporations and then turning them towards just self-sustaining humanity, or self-sustaining the proletariat, so that it's no longer about profit as much as it's about, okay, we can use this indefinitely to keep ourselves from becoming useless, right? And so this is partly why black people like it, I guess. But the thing about that is that, Marx is not taking into the global perspective of, well, you got to get these resources from somewhere, and it's going to be human, and that human labor is actually not entirely replaced. It's just that you guys in Europe had good jobs. Like you guys weren't a part of the extraction part. You were just a part of the pressing buttons part. And so you guys are being replaced, but Africa was not being replaced. They were just, so on and so forth. But the other part is that, black Americans are left out, because now they who do not who don't usually have the wider technical skills, because they don't have the technical labor in a sense, right? They're going to be left out from as the economy shifts towards a more technical economy, right? And it's further exacerbated by the reality that white folk don't even know what to do with their own people who are falling out of, who are becoming obsolete. You know what I mean? So it's just a realistically speaking, you do want to jump ship from these Western economies, but you don't necessarily want to jump ship into another Western economy that's going to further exploit the continent of Africa. And of course, you as African Americans, if you're African American, if you will, but you as African people are not going to be rescued by any economic system designed to rescue white people. You understand? There's this popular white boy who's now trending. He's actually from Israel or something. I can't remember his name. But he's like now talking about, what are we going to do with people, with the obsolete people? We got to think about ways for the economy to cater to the obsolete people. And he's like trending. A lot of black folk respect him, in fact. I can't remember his name, though. But anyway, Afrojam says African Americans would need a secessionist movement before anything, which is basically non-existent. Yeah, I mean, look, black Americans are going to secede with what, though? They don't have anything. It's like you don't have any resources. You don't have any, what are you going to secede with? Like if Haiti says, hey, you know what, F the global economy, we're going to produce sugar and sell it to Ghana. That could work, If Jamaica says, F the global economy, we're gonna produce coconuts and mangoes. We're gonna get those and sell them to Nigeria. That could work. But if African Americans say, hey, F the global economy, we're gonna sell music or something. Like what? It's not gonna work. You can't do anything. You don't have any real resources. They forced you into little buildings, right? And then they said, all right, well, just die. And you can't, what are you going to secede to? Like legit, you're like surrounded. We were showing this image of the Philadelphia move bombing. America literally flew ships over African Americans and just bombed them in their homes. Like in the middle of America. Like what? Like it doesn't even make any damn sense. Like not that it don't make any sense, but it's like, yeah, what? How could you secede with what? You have to secede with something. It's like if you ever see a woman inside of an abusive relationship. I mean, I don't like abusive relationships. Obviously, I'm just giving you an example. But if you see a woman in an abusive relationship, if she don't have her own money, this is why women are advised to get their own money. If she doesn't have her own money, then she can't leave. A lot of times she feels like she can't leave. And so it's like, you don't want to be in that situation where you can't leave a relationship. And yet, that's how African Americans are in America, where it's like, America gives you nothing. And it leaves you with nothing. So all you can do is take what you can to make a living elsewhere. That's it. Because you still, even as much as money as you may have in the bank, right? You don't have any resources. You can't trade anything with anybody. You can't start a relationship with any other country. And if you want to start a relationship with any other country, you have to ask America first. And if you do not ask America first and it finds out, it will gut you. It will gut you. Okay? It will gut you. It will say, hey, you're doing some black market trade? Like they call it after you, right? No, I'm joking. I don't know why they named it that, but yeah. All right, sorry. So we just went on a long ass tangent, but we're back. And this is the last one. This is I Spy. So I just want to say, when the axe entered the forest, the tree said, "Look, the handle is one of us." Right? This is I Spy. This is just some weirdo. He says, "If you really want to help me, please." What the fuck? Okay, I don't think this is the right one either. Yo, what's going on? How do I get these random ass... Anyway. But I think it might be him. I don't know. But I think it's him. I think this is the Ukraine guy. But anyway. I don't know. Maybe he edited this text because I don't remember reading this at all. He says, if you really want to help me, please send me religious texts of overcoming evil. It doesn't matter the religion. And if someone wants to pray for me and with me, DM me and I'll reach out when I can. Thank you. So this is some I Spy. This is some idiot who's like in Ukraine for some reason. And it's just proof that these people will, like, hey, well, I guess I particularize African Americans, but they will spy for America. They'll spy on America's behalf. Well, now, I guess this is another person. I don't know who this is. I actually don't know what happened. I really thought this was something else. But, all right. There are currently around 4,000 Nigerian students in Ukraine who have tried to contact the embassy with respect to evacuation plans. They have kept hearing the same message to check their website. The attacks have started, and it's unclear whether they will be able to escape. Again, you're not going to be able to escape. Nobody cares. The embassy in Nigeria is closed. Good. Not good. It sucks, but it is what it is. My thinking is that if you don't know by now what's going on, then you just don't know. This is somebody says, my heart bleeds for Ukraine. He says, Euro 2012 Ukraine, it will be much too dangerous for black people to go out on game nights. That's what Ukraine said. Ukraine soccer executive considers segregating black and white fans to avoid racism. That's 2015, right? This is Brazilian player sent off in Ukraine for reacting to racist insults. So this is probably, anyway. But yeah, November 2019. Let me go on further. I thought it was the gentleman who, I think it was that guy. Yeah, so Xbox finally, he comes through. This guy right here. So he's like, calling Ukrainians Nazis is akin to calling black people a racial slur. Yes, it is that similar. So Xbox pulls out, he says, they were literally doing Nazi salutes in your face. And so this guy, same guy, Terrell Jermaine Starr, who just suddenly is the center of everything. He says, a cop in Ukraine said he was detaining me because I was black. I appreciated it. Being a black man... All right, being a black man in Ukraine showed me everything that's wrong with race in the U.S. I was already homeless, unknowingly a victim of housing discrimination, when my plane touched down in Kiev, Ukraine in the summer of 2009. I was traveling on a Fulbright grant to research the lives of biracial Ukrainians and was eager to explore how the Slavic countries would produce native people who looked like me, a young black man from Detroit. My introduction to racism in Eastern Europe has become swiftly and severely. Over my next 18 months in Ukraine, race would become a constant obstacle to normal life and interactions with Ukrainians. Certainly, black skin creates hurdles in the United States as well. Here, racism systematically, but usually covertly, obstructs African Americans from fully enjoying all the freedoms afforded to white people. But racism in Ukraine was much more blunt, always in my face, unabashed, and in plain view. I never had to guess whether a person's remarks carried racist undertones, or if an officer's stop was fueled by prejudice. My acclimation to Eastern Europeans' brand of racism didn't come immediately. I spent my first 6 weeks in Ukraine simply getting used to the most extreme forms of anti-black hatred. Occasionally, I'd encounter young men dressed in black shirts and Doc Martens who would throw out the Nazi salute in my direction. Other times, my skin color would attract open curiosity and such overwhelming kindness that I would wonder if I had been mistaken for a celebrity. So this is that guy. So basically, he's he's a spy for the Americans in Ukraine. I gotta stop saying it with the accent. It just comes out. I don't know why. I'm actually getting hungry. I know my kid hungry as a motherfucker. But this is the last one, I guess. This is some other idiot in Africa. So I'm guessing he's in Africa because of his name. Not to say that you can't have a name and I'll just have to. Yeah, I think he's in South Africa, maybe, possibly. Let me see. Pretend you're a genius and act like one. I don't know. Everything seems to suggest that he might be in Africa. But, all right. He says, the Ukrainian security are being racist towards Africans doesn't mean Ukrainians don't deserve support. Conversely, that Ukraine deserves support does not mean Ukrainian security should be racist towards Africans. And, of course, Keter says, get back to taking your meds. Well, there it is. The dumbest fucking thing I've read all day. But, yeah, these are the enemies within. I'm not going to hold y'all. Appreciate everybody for coming through, stopping by. I know I might have been a little bit harsh on some people, but I want y'all to know the truth. You know, if I pass or if I do not pass, I want y'all to understand the truth about this world and the predicament that we find ourselves in about the economy and so on and so forth. I could look at these last remaining comments, of course, but I'm going to try to be brief and quick just for you guys' sake. So, Real Black Gentleman says, the U.S. wants to dissolve black people here in this melting pot. I mean, some black people, here's the thing, black people in the hood are keeping their racial purity intact. They just have no real opportunity, and they're going to, you know, they're still giving birth to each other, and white people are just taking up the best and brightest. But other than that, the majority are going to die, just slow genocide, slow genocide. If not by killing themselves, just slow genocide. And for those of you who are not familiar with this concept of the hood and all that kind of stuff, I recommend the Pro-Black Compendium, and particularly this one essay in the Pro-Black Compendium, which is also available on the website. So you go to the newsletter archive, and then let's see if we could, what's the name of this thing called? Oh yeah, Housing Projects. I think it's still available on the website. So I definitely encourage you guys, if you want to understand what's going on in the American situation, so this is the whole article. I want you to look at this article. So I'm going to put in the description. So, I know you guys are like, hey man, I spent too much time with you already. I don't want to spend no more time. This is me back in 2016. I put it in the Book of Power. In the Pro-Black Compendium. Part of the reason why I even wrote the Pro-Black Compendium was to include this. But look at this. This is an experiment. So I'm just giving you guys a preface. In 2004, white people made this 40 studies that changed psychology. One of them is Calhoun, who says population density and social pathology. And this was somebody shared a summary of what happened when you put a bunch of mice in high-rise buildings, okay? In limited space with unlimited food. So it says, let me just tell you how it goes. Observations made of rats which were supplied with unlimited food but limited space in high-rises, no less, showed that dominant males became aggressive, some moving in groups, attacking females and the young. Mating behaviors were disrupted. Some became exclusively homosexual. Others became pansexual and hypersexual, attempting to mount any rat they encountered. Mothers neglected their infants, first failing to construct proper nests, and then carelessly abandoning and even attacking their pups. In certain sections of the pens, infant mortality rose as high as 96%. The dead cannibalized by adults. Subordinate animals withdrew psychologically, surviving in a physical sense, but at an immense psychological cost. They were the majority in the late phases of growth, existing as a vacant, huddled mass in the center of the pens. Unable to breed, the population plummeted and did not recover. The crowded rodents had lost the ability to coexist harmoniously, even after the population numbers once again fell to low levels. At a certain density, they had ceased to act like rats and mice, and the change was permanent. So they're saying that they took a bunch of mice and put them inside of an environment, and then they developed homosexuality, pansexuality, killing themselves, so on and so forth. This is the hood. After this study, in fact, 1962, after this study, the government started funding the hood, the Housing Project, Housing Act of 1968. And this is the interesting thing. The original Housing Act of 1968, if you read it, prohibited the use of high-rise developments for families with children. Can you imagine that? And so this is real legislation. That was Section 235. The real legislation is that law was Section 235, which gave white people the means to get out and live in the suburbs. So basically they said, it's not good for white people. We're going to do this. This is the America. You guys go read that article when you can. Click it open before the page opens. But let's keep going. But this is also in the Pro-Black Compendium. But obviously you don't need to buy it for this article. There's other articles in the Pro-Black Compendium too. Obviously I like the Book of Power more, so I don't really talk about it. But still, let's keep going. African Americans would not. U.S. dissolves. Yeah, so it's like that's the fate for the people in the hood. The U.S. wants to dissolve black people here in the Melting Pot. It's like, that's the fate. They don't really care. They just want you to die. Afrojam says they would need land that they dominate and are the majority. A bunch of neighborhoods spread out all over the place is impossible to start with. Yeah, they're not doing anything. I think we need like a million people in like one space dominating population electoral politics. It says 5, not percent. So we need 5 million people. Yeah, but it's going to be difficult because again, you're still surrounded by America. You know, it's like, what can you do? It's like the Ukrainians at the border. The black people in Poland. Like, you show up in Poland, and like, yeah, they're gonna push you around because like, what the fuck are you gonna do? You're in Poland, and the thing is that we don't want to admit that we're in America. America is the largest white nation on the planet. You know, needed a literal city-state at least. Yeah, like America's the largest white nation on the planet. You know, we're at 200 million white people. You know, Russia doesn't even have that many white people. Britain has like 40 million white people. France is like 40 million white people. And I'm just guessing, but yeah, this is the largest white state on the planet. You're like, it's just not advised. I would say if you're a black person in America, and you can, then just leave. Just go somewhere, go anywhere. It's not going to be better. It's going to be different, you know, and there's going to be potential wherever you go. I mean, of course, America is still going to hound you. Of course, you're still going to have to negotiate with Russia. You're still going to still have coons. You saw most of the enemies within, a lot of them were in Africa or in the Caribbean. You know, like I said, 50%, at least 500 black people were, so on and so forth. All that said, you know, if you really, like I said, if you really want to do something for yourself as an African American, then just go and save your lineage, save your descendants. Because the people in Liberia do not deal with the same problems that we deal with in America. You know, they're African American as much as we are, or as much as you guys are, whatever, right? They don't deal with your problems. And then here you might say, hey, look, Oni, you're not African American. It's like, yeah, but I deal with African American problems, not because I'm African American, but because I'm in America. You understand? You deal with the problems because of where you are. That's the thing that people have to grasp. You know, you don't deal with problems where you're not. You deal with the problems where you are. It's not even about what you are as much as where you are. So I hope that's fun for everybody. Thanks everybody for coming through. Appreciate the conversation. Afrojam says Russia and Brazil have the next most whites. Yeah, they're like, yes, I wouldn't go to Brazil either. I wouldn't go to Russia either. You know what I mean? But like the thing is that people find it really realistic when you say that you can't change the politics of Russia, or you can't change the politics of Ukraine, or you can't change the politics of Poland. But then when it comes to the largest white nation on the planet, we're just like, yeah, we can change this. We can operate within their borders and change them. Like, you can't, like, I'm not going to go to China and be like, hey, you got to respect us. You know, I'm not going to do that. I would like respect when I'm in China, sure, but I'm not optimistic about the chances of me demanding respect and change in China. You know, Real Black Gentleman says that's stark. It's like, how do 40 million black people leave if that's what's best? Because it's either that or slow borging of black people. Yeah, it's not. You're not going to save 40 million. You're not going to save 40 million. The only people that could save the 40 million people are the white people, are the 200 million white people. You're not 200 million strong. Like, you don't have the resources, and if you had the resources, you wouldn't spend it on people who are surrounded. You know, you wouldn't spend it on people on the Titanic. You know what I mean? Like, you just wouldn't do that if you had the resources. Unless you had a lot of resources, you wouldn't. Like, it just you can't save the 40 million. You could save like you guys heard my son earlier. I could save him. You know, like if there's a nuclear bomb out here, I could save him possibly. Can't save everybody. You know, can't save everybody, and I probably couldn't save him either. But you can't save everybody. It has to dawn on you that the mice in the experiment are effed up, and if you're a mouse in that experiment, you just have to leave and go among the mice. Go among the safe, light mice, and you might be a little bit twisted in the head. That's fine. You can at least tell us when the scientists are showing up again. That's it. But like, yeah, like we can't keep going by this 40 million, and then because the thing is that we keep going by this. Hey, well, I'll use the 40 million, but we never have any solutions for the 40 million. You know, when like for instance earlier, when you say, hey, 5 million people in the city, that's not going to save the 40 million people. You know? Like, nothing that we propose ever, whenever, because I remember we were having one time we had this discussion, and I think it was Harsh Reality who said, yeah, how are we going to, not 40 million people are going to leave. And it's like, yeah, true, but if we go and build up a community and a family and all that kind of stuff, which are good solutions, if you go and do that, even in America, you're still not going to save the 40 million. You know what I mean? Now, you could, of course, develop and build a community in America, but you're still going to be landlocked, and you're still going to have to abide by the international treaties of America, or the international laws in America, or the national laws in America. So that's the reason why I wouldn't advise America. But even that is better. But again, you're still not going to save the 40 million people. There's nothing that you can do because you just don't have the resources. And at the end of the day, the 40 million people are living in a nation that you have to respect if you're in another nation. That you have to respect in the sense insofar as it's a stronger nation than you, or in as much as it's a stronger nation than you, and to take it to task may mean trouble. It's like America doesn't directly attack Russia. You understand? So if the Russian citizens are like, hey, I want this one and so forth, America can't directly do anything about it. And so now you have America as a strong, superpower. Again, it has 40 million people that it treats like shit, sure. But what are you going to do about it? Like at the end of the day, you can't do anything for those 40 million people. And if you had the resources to, you have to funnel it through America. Because it's their citizens. They're 40 million citizens of America. That's what they are. And you gotta just understand that. Afro says Brazil is an advanced stage of what the U.S. wishes to be. Whites still control all the mixed people quite easily, of course. But all right, family. Anyway, if you guys want to continue this conversation, like I said, I have the Discord and the link. You could click on the Discord, get a bunch of free books when you do so, access to a bunch of free books as well. And of course, you can also put the comments inside the section. The last few comments I had, some of them were actually just from this freaking Russian guy who just wanted to know more about programming. So I don't need that. So just come through, drop some comments, continue the conversation. But until then, I guess I'm gonna go feed this kid, feed my black ass, or feed myself. And next time we chat. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Shami Motep, Anku Ja Seneb Neb, Amen Ma'at Dua Necher.